gbangba yípo padà. Ayérayé Olódùmarè, ọba mi gbangba yípo padà, ọba mi gbangba lára. Òjò winiwini balẹ̀ gbogbo ilẹ̀ á sì tutù bí ejò òwúrọ̀. Mo ṣèbà Elédùmarè tó láyé rárùn. Àtọ́rí aláìsùn wọ́n ṣe ni ọba tí ń gbẹ́kú ẹni lódìndín. Ṣé bí wà ló fọ̀rọ̀ dálé ayé o? Kábíyèsí rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ló ṣe ni, iṣẹ́ ló ṣe ni, iṣẹ́ ló ṣe ni ọba mi àfìrí gbọ̀ngbọ̀n.
I don't know what they are fighting for. We are still watching, studying it. The Americans are saying that some of the Latin Americans are sending drugs to the U.S.
Has a lot of facets that I have an enormous amount of questions in. Why was it so easy? Because it was very easy. And how do you get Maduro in bed when the country is being hit by over 100 2,000-pound bombs? We use that bomb, the graphite bomb, which goes into the electrical substations, blows up over them, and shorts out the entire substation. What's missing from this is, where was the armed forces of Venezuela's military forces? If there was the art of the deal being carried out here, it was carried out over the last 4 months with the assistance of the CIA and other governments, where the government of Venezuela had him already controlled and packaged and turned over. And all they had to do was go in and neutralize the final group for show and walk him out. Because 28 minutes in and out from Trinidad is a little fast. Consternation. But Trump is executing, let's go to the 100,000 meter look, right? Trump is executing a policy that he has very clearly discussed with Vladimir Putin and is part of a Putinist doctrine that was developed by a man named Alexander Dugin. The neo-Eurasianist theory in which Europe would fall under the influence and control of Russia, the United States would take control of the Western Hemisphere, a la the Monroe Doctrine of the 1840s, which led up to the Mexican-American War, and China would be given, full run of the house of Africa, parts of the Indian subcontinent, and Asia. And that has actually now happened. Okay, everyone thought that's fanciful. The Atlantic Alliance set in 1941, which has been going right up until the day we attacked Venezuela, has been about the maintenance of those ties between Europe and the United States and a rules-based world order. Before I can talk about bombs, helicopters, and helicopter rides, bombs, guns, and helicopter rides, as we call it, you need to understand what the politics of this is. So Trump has clearly adopted, with Vladimir Putin's acquiescence or agreement, this philosophy. By the way, it was developed by a guy named Alexander Dugin, and Dugin's immediate ideological successor in the United States is Steve Bannon, who was Trump's closest advisor for 10 years, who thoroughly believes in this dividing the world up into 3 poles, a tripolar world. It is now in effect. So
Trump sees us as a piggy bank for corporations, and I'm not kidding about that. I mean, he's talking about how, the oil companies don't have to worry about spending tens of billions of dollars in extracting oil from Venezuela because the US taxpayers will reimburse them for it. They're going to privatize gains, socialize losses, always, always. So congratulations, America. You're all working hard, you're paying your taxes, you're seeing your money robbed by your federal government to fund foreign wars and essentially oil seizures on behalf of oil companies who I'm now learning that the profits from said oil isn't going to be sent to the Treasury. Trump announced this apparently. It's going to be sent to offshore accounts. Congratulations. Congratulations. Making America great again. America first. Federal agents shooting and killing American citizens and pretending like they had to do so because they were in imminent danger.
Y'all probably wondering why I'm crying. I've been watching Speed streams, and I'm seeing all the love that he's getting in Angola. He's in South Africa, and he's getting massive amount of love, and the way that he was treated in Europe was disgusting. But to see him be a black man from the United States of African descent and be able to go back to the continent and be treated like a human by civilized African people, when we've been taught that Africa is primitive, that it's dangerous, don't go back, they have this, they have that, they don't want you, they don't like you. And to see an African American man with his stature go back to the motherland and be treated with so much respect. This is what our people fought for. This is what they fought for when they fought against Jim Crow and segregation. This is what the slave revolts were about. This is what it's always been about. It's to be able to go back home to a home that you've never been and be unapologetically black and not have to think about being black. Just being able to have your natural hair and your brown skin and not be judged and not be racially profiled and not be killed. I love the love that he is getting. And I love the love that all of my African American people are getting in the continent. And I know there's a lot of issues. I know there's a lot of things that need to be worked out. But I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
And expecting the president to come to your rescue. The governor was out there bragging that we should not worry. Whenever he's ready, the president will give us instruction to pass his budget for him. I mean, that's insulting to the president.
Honorable, is this about Inyendeba? Agreement is agreement. Is that the cause of this problem? Is it a matter of Inyendeba?
I think you are in the wrong profession. You should be a comedian or a clown.
Oh, really?
Because I don't know how.
Does it sound funny, Honorable? Does it sound funny? I'm sorry if this sounds funny. But it's a very popular language in your political farm and Rivers. Don't you hear it?
You are reducing very, very serious constitutional issues to mere comedy. And I think it's not fair to Reversible Sheon. Shouldn't be doing this. This is a very serious issue. We're talking about the lives and livelihood of a people. We're talking about institutions of a state. It's the creation of the Constitution.
Honorable, do you feel this as a sign, whatever happened today, as a member of the APC, do you see it as a sign of betrayal? Do you see yourself betraying your political party in which you just joined? Do you see yourself as a betrayer?
I sit here, I'm speaking as a spokesperson of the House of Assembly, not as a party chieftain. So I would want you to restrict your conversations to the activities of the House of Assembly, which I represent.
But you represent your party in the House, and you're a member of the party, and you are supposed to uphold the interests of the party on the floor.
The party is a vehicle. The party is a vehicle. Once I enter that chambers, I sit on behalf of the people of Asatol Constituency 2. And once I sit here, I speak on behalf of the 27 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly.
Give me a moment.
Well, I think if a man has
keep breaking the law and
speaker,
the president
twice
to come
governor,
to rescue.
now senator,
the governor was out there
and
bragging.
60 years. It means he started early and he has done a lot. And Tambuwa, a lawyer, but I think he made his mark as a speaker when his leadership focused a lot on human rights. He's a leader who has been able to create a pan-Nigerian network of young and middle-aged and old people who have confidence in his ability to lead. I recall I met him in Imo State during Christmas with his friend, Emeke Hedionga. So his ability to relate to all Nigerians give him a leadership quality that is rare. And he's also a pragmatic politician. He understands politics. But beyond that, he also has understanding about policy, what should be done to better life for people. So I would describe him as the reason why many people are coming, not just politicians, but also professionals. In the MBA, he is a life bencher, and he has been able to inspire confidence and retain the commitment and loyalty of senior lawyers who trust him because of his contribution to the profession. So all rounder, he has been a great politician, a great parliamentarian, and now maybe one day a president or vice president, who knows, but he has acquired significant experience, he has built network, he has proved to be capable of rising to the dynamics of a better Nigeria. People have some issues about him, some people have issues around maybe the way he's alleged to have disrupted PDP, went to APC, with Atiku Abubakar. He's not a perfect person. On the whole, he has been a tremendous Nigerian who made many contributions and attained high heights early in his career, his life. In the 2022 PDP primary, I supported him. I was his head of strategy, but I felt he was
Now to Nigeria, where yet another tragic attack on civilians has killed dozens. Locals say even women and children were not spared.
All the children were taken, even the smallest one. All 5 of my children were there. Nothing remains.
Police say that gunmen, known locally as bandits, stormed a market in Demo village, burning stalls and firing indiscriminately. Officials say at least 30 people were killed, while several others have been abducted. The local community has been left in disbelief and outraged after Nigeria's latest mass killing.
It seems that those who did this are not human. Even the devil could not commit such atrocities. Is this human?
After the attack, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu said a search and rescue mission was underway.
I have also directed that all abducted victims be urgently rescued and that security operations around vulnerable communities, especially near forests, be intensified.
Now, this latest assault comes at a time of both domestic and international scrutiny of the Nigerian government over safety. Local bandits and terrorists linked to groups like Boko Haram have carried out several attacks and kidnappings on civilians in recent weeks and months. On November the 17th, 25 girls were taken from a school in Kebbi State. They were later freed. The same day, gunmen abducted 64 people from their homes in Zamfara State. The next day, attackers struck a church in Kwara State, killing 2 people and taking 38 worshippers. On November the 21st, gunmen abducted more than 300 students and staff from a Catholic school in Niger State. And on November 24th, 10 people were taken from Kwara. After this series of attacks and abductions in November, President Bola Tinubu declared a nationwide security emergency. Amid the heightened violence has brought pressure from US President Donald Trump. The US launched military strikes in Nigeria on December the 25th last year over what he called the targeting and vicious killing of innocent Christians. While the effectiveness of these US strikes has been questioned within Nigeria, Trump has threatened further action. This will culminate in further pressure on President Tinubu. The Nigerian leader has vowed to tackle violent attacks, hiking up security forces while committing to making Nigeria safer. But the attacks continue. Men, women and children are being killed. Kidnappings are prevalent and many communities are living in constant fear across Nigeria.
The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefield.
آمادگی‌هاتون رو یه مش تخریبگر آمدن ساختمان متعلق به کشور خودشون رو خراب کردن. مثلا فرض کنید فلان ساختمان دیواری رو خراب کردن برای که دل رئیس جمهور آمریکا خوش بود.
Breaking news with a major development just moments ago. Sources just confirmed to CNN that the United States has seized an oil tanker that had been linked to Venezuela. Now, Russia is responding to the seizure, saying they are the owners of this vessel. The Trump administration has not acknowledged the Russian status, claiming the ship to be stateless, but nevertheless, you can see the sensitive nature of the situation. Russia had sent ships to track and maybe even protect this vessel over the last 24 hours. The United States has been tracking it across the Atlantic. It's the same ship that the Coast Guard had tried to seize last month near Venezuela. They were unable to board it, and the ship changed course and fled. But now, the breaking news, the United States has seized it. Nick Robertson tracking the developments for us. Nick, what are you learning?
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today we are going to be covering the news and the events of the week. Clearly, it has been quite eventful, mostly internationally, rather than this thing in terms of Nigeria. From Maduro's kidnap, some people say it's arrest, some say it's capture. But it appears to be kidnapping. You don't go and take a president based on the legal norms we have now. And when I find some people using the term arrested, it just smacks of being biased. Because clearly, some of those people that say arrested, when the Nigerian government does it, it's kidnapped. So I don't know why people do that. Clearly, they are biased. That said, he was kidnapped from his palace. And question is whether his people sold him out. And it appears they sold him out because some people actually believe that the way that operation occurred is not normal. For the level of security Venezuela has, it shouldn't have been that fast. That it appears he was betrayed by his people. Even if they are sounding as if they didn't betray him now, they are saying that to kind of create that smoke screen like it just happened. Any expert that has looked at it believes that that doesn't seem normal. That said, I will move on from that. We're going to cover that in more detail. Just to, as a disclaimer, the conversation we are going to be having here today is to enrich our knowledge, add texture to what we already know, and if possible, we can learn a few or two things from the conversation we're having here today. And sometimes we may be asking sharp questions and you may hear some sharp opinions. The point is to learn, not to divide and not to discriminate against any group. There is most of the prejudice you may hear is not intended that way, and we'll do our best to try to contain them. And so I just thought I should make that clear. That is the spirit with which this channel is hosting this live stream, and all the panelists are going to come here, so they will have strong opinions, and we shouldn't always take them too personal. If it crosses a line of being prejudiced, we'll call them out, and I hope other panelists do the same to call them out, because we don't want to encourage bad behavior, do we? And so that is that. Thank you for that. And also there is the issue of the Russian tanks that are being intercepted by the US. The US is just basically taking the gloves off and say, you know what, anybody I can beat, I will beat you. Right now, I will beat you. I'm not in a good mood. I will beat you, and if you can beat me, beat me. If you can't, surrender. That is it. Anybody that talks any nonsense, that Trump goes after them. And Trump is even threatening them from you. You see, all this sort of negative attitude. No, you see, I've barely even said anything. You saw how conciliatory I sounded a moment ago. And here my fellow Nigerians, they have come with your attitude. We can't learn anything from you because your perspective is always negative. And anti-people. What kind of attitude is that? You have to come with the right spirit, open spirit, ready to learn. Don't be so negative, eh? Come on, be positive. Okay, so back to the topic. Russian tankers are being intercepted by the United States, and it appears that they are kind of, how do I put it, trying to dare Russia. It's funny because I was watching a news report where Trump called in, and Trump was saying, this kind of war Russia is fighting, they just keep fighting on and on and on and on. You know, Trump doesn't like that type of war. They don't know Russians. Russians can fight forever. That's the thing. And it's very interesting because there's a video I also play about what Russians think about what happened in Venezuela. It's a very fascinating stuff. You know, these are the kind of things you know, I really don't like this thing where it like I told you so kind of stuff. You know, during the time when COVID-19 was during that time of pandemic, and the Western nations gave themselves, the G20 nations, they gave themselves more than $17 trillion worth of loans. You know what I call that? I call that a weapon. I call that a weapon. I didn't call that just money. It's a weapon. And people think it's a joke. And it's clear now that what happened in Venezuela is not military defeat. It's a money defeat. They bought at least the implication is allegedly, they may have bought off some of the top officials in the Venezuelan government, and even lower level ones. They bought them off. And that is how that's why they were able to do what they did without barely any shots being fired. Let's face it. The only people that were taken out, I think I gathered that they are from 80 to 200 people, and they are mostly the Cuban guards of the president that were taken out. But this is a president, from what I gather, that lives in a compound where there are more than 100,000 people that's surrounding him. 100,000. So, and yet, Americans were able to go in there and take him. And so the people must have been partly responsible for what happened there. And how they did it is mostly about money. This same pattern has happened to the Haitian president, Jovenel, I'm probably ruining his name, apologies, Jovenel Moise. That president, they came into his house, basically his presidential house, and did away with him, and went away. No guards were injured. You know, they basically bought off the guard. This is the name of money. This is the problem with money. Some people are not reliable. They can sell their brother for any change that they are offered. So that is what some people suspect that has happened in Venezuela. But in terms of Russia, what Trump is doing with Russia, it appears to be something, is as if they've reached an agreement. That's what some people are suspecting. That they reached an agreement between Russia, China, and the US, a new Berlin conference, kind of, to control the world. China gets Africa and some other parts of the world. Russia gets Europe, which Europe would be pissing in their pants to hear that. Russia gets Europe. That makes me laugh whenever I hear it. Russia gets Europe. Europe will seem like childless parents when they see Russians arriving. So Russia gets Europe, America gets the remaining parts of the world. So that appears to be the terms that experts are insinuating. I am not sure that is true. It's not very clear because the Americans they are playing a very, very sneaky game, you know. They're playing a sneaky game. It's not that straightforward that is what has happened. And I hope that is not what has happened, because if that is what has happened, God help us. Okay, let me put it this way. If that is what has happened and it's China that has Africa, question is if China going to change attitude. Because if China doesn't, that is a good thing, isn't it? China will trade with Africa, help Africa develop. I wouldn't say help, but Africa will develop from the trade and stuff like that, exchange and all the rest. And Africa will not be penalized for that. If that happens, yeah, that's a good thing. But my fear is that that's not what's going to happen. Because now, if China has free hand, he doesn't have anybody competing with it, he could start doing some really, really nasty things to Africa. And this is why in this world, I've been saying it, we have to behave as if we don't have any friends out there. It doesn't mean we are not going to form alliances, strong ones. But if you start from the point that you don't have any friends, you see more clearly, and you are more likely to make better demands of anybody that you want to pick as your friend. And we need friends for sure. We need friends. Almost any set of people that have emerged in this world need friends. So that is that on that front. I'm hearing some funny sounds and noises coming out of Rivers State, Nigeria, that the politics is getting ugly again there, as if it's not been ugly enough in the past 2 to 3 years. And the president intervened to settle the dispute between Wike and Fubara, the governor. Wike was the former governor, and Fubara is the current governor. But somehow the former governor is not allowing the current governor to govern. What kind of situation is this? can't a former governor just go and start doing better and greater things somewhere else? Why does he need to still being active within the state that he has governed and interfering with the politics of the state? This our attitude is not helping and it's undermining democracy. And this is one of the things people don't like about democracy, because they see leaders being very, very responsible with their power. Okay, that is it. And others will come in and shed more light on that. I'm not very vast on the intricacies. I gather that they are looking to impeach him again. It's as if they've not tried that before, and that the president intervened to try to stop the state assembly from impeaching Fubara because the assembly members seems to be loyal to the former governor. There you go. And that is that. And what else is on the news? And Akpabio seems to have withdrawn the charges against Natasha Akpoti, the senator lady that has been very, very exemplary in the way she has conducted herself so far in terms of her duties to her constituents. I have to say she has done very well. And I'm not sure. They said she's going to run for Bello. I've forgotten his first name. Bello, the former governor of the state, wants to run against her in the senatorial race. I'm not sure she should be wasting time with him. If I was her, I would look to run for the president of Nigeria, really, because I'm not sure the field that we have right now is palatable at all. And we need people that are willing to dare establishment, people that are willing to shake things up. And I think she has that ability. And she has a record too. You see, this is the issue I have with Showore sometimes. He seems to talk the talk and seems to have the ability, but he has not shown any record of what he can actually do in terms of delivering for the people of the country. And that is where she stands out. And I really hope she considers running for office, because if she starts thinking that, oh, let me wait later, what is later? These people are useless right now. Run against them, and you keep running until you win. If you know you want to do the right thing for your people, run. Because the others that are there, they are not that good. I can assure you, the results you are getting is not very, very good. All right, and I think she's going to do spectacularly. If someone like that ends up in office, she's going to do quite well. And she's brave. How many of our leaders can you say they are truly brave? You know, Tinubu is brave when he knows the people that he's competing against are completely hopeless. Not when he fears that the people he's fighting are very, very powerful and strong. Because the last time he tried that, it was against Abacha, and he wasn't inside the country. He was overseas. If I'm not mistaken, he was mostly in London, maybe in the US, but I think he was in London then, from my memory. So that is that anyway. On Natasha Akpoti. What else is there on the news? Tinubu's whereabouts still unknown. Oh my God, our president, we don't know where he is right now. And you see, this is a problem. How can your president, you don't know where your presidents are? Man, Nigerians, I'm really embarrassed for you guys. I'm a Nigerian, but still, what is this? We don't know where our president is. For all we know, he's been kidnapped somewhere and been questioned and made to sign all kinds of agreements and selling us away, and none of us are none the wiser. That is not ideal state of affairs for any nation to operate under, and this is not something that is common in other nations. I don't know why when we say nations, I mean non-black African nations, because we seem to have serious issues understanding statecraft. What needs to be done? Our presidents seem to go overseas and get themselves treatment and die there and do all kinds of nonsense that they are doing there, come back home and sell garbage to us. I have to give I need to mention South Africa, because South Africa is not mentioned enough. South Africa carried out a military drill with Iran, China, Russia. There was one other nation, I'm not sure the fourth nation. They carried out a military drill with them, and it appears that China, South Africa is forming stronger ties with China as all this is happening. That's very brave of South Africa. And you have to give South Africa credit, because in a world where there are no rules, South Africa stands a chance of becoming the true superpower in the world, because they are already nuclear. South Africa is the only country in Africa that is already nuclear. At least they have nuclear power and they have fissile materials. if they wanted to go nuclear, nukes. They are the only country. So if Trump is trying to create a dangerous situation, South Africa is one of those countries that he will actually be careful about attacking because the country is already nuclear. Can you believe that? It's unbelievable to imagine that Nigeria can be, Tinubu can be taken overnight, and half of Nigeria will be dancing, and the others will be like, what just happened? But why South Africa? If that happens, people will be worried that whether there will be a kind of a nuclear conflagration that could result from that. Because South Africa is actually more advanced in nuclear, probably, than even Iran. Because they used to have the nukes before. They just decommissioned it, destroyed the design, but the fissile material is still there with them. So they may be already fully enriched fissile material, not 60% or something that Iran had. So that is what South Africa is ahead, and that's why they are bold. You see how free they feel. They are not as scared as Nigeria. Nigeria, the moment Trump looks at us sideways, Tinubu runs the other direction quickly, just in case Trump is going to think about coming over to Nigeria. That is the situation we are in. Power, raw power is beginning to show itself. They can carve up the nations as they see fit. Now, there's another revelation that I just realized why nations don't want to conquer other countries immediately. That's the smaller nations. They don't want to conquer them. Because if you conquer them, they become part of your empire, isn't it? You start to govern them. And you have to live with them. And sooner or later, they will start demanding rights within that your nation. And when they start demanding rights, before you know it, they start voting for your presidency and your leaders there too. And when that starts happening from within, you could lose your power. And it might mean this nation-state system that they put in place, in a way, actually favors the powers more because they can keep you at arm's length. You can't vote in their countries. You can't contribute directly to their countries, but they can suck you dry. It's very interesting that the revelation that has occurred with this Venezuela kind of capture of their president and the way Trump is behaving these days is beginning to reveal to you. Trump did all those things, but he doesn't want to take over Venezuela. He wants to keep them at arm's length. If you tell him to annex Venezuela, he's not going to annex Venezuela. Why would you want to annex Venezuela? Even if they have all those oil resources, they won't, because they know if they do that, they are going to be changing the demographics of their nation. But he's happy to annex Greenland, because Greenland clearly is going to increase the demographics of the Europeans. So you see, there's a pattern there that appears to be revealing itself. Why big nations don't annex smaller nations, especially nations that are not of the same race as they are. They don't like to annex them. The same thing as Israel has been telling us this forever. That's why they don't want to annex West Bank or Gaza. Israel has been showing us this why they don't want to annex them. They don't want to annex them because if they know if they annex them and make them part of Israel, those people will start having power within Israel. And it's going to affect the powers to the people that actually control Israel as it stands right now. And that's what Trump has also revealed. Very interesting dynamics that is going on in the world. It has perils and it has upsides. So I want to highlight one other part of the news that we don't normally talk about, which is live streaming, social media personalities. There is this young man whom I never knew anything about. From nowhere, he seems to have emerged on the continent of Africa, and seems to be very popular. And what is remarkable about it is the reaction of African Americans to his arrival on the continent, which is I find that a little bit puzzling, because I thought with Wodemaya that everybody knows about the African continent now. I didn't know that some people are still oblivious of what is going on the continent. Because there are videos of this guy. Let me see if I can find the video. There are videos of this young man. I show speed. They call him an interesting name. They call. He's called I show speed. There is a video of him traveling in going around in European countries. And he was treated like trash, basically. He was basically treated like trash. in European countries, and but in Africa, the whole tone was quite different. And this is the part that, you know, sometimes you look at Africa, you think, okay, that's all good. We are doing some things right. Now, let me cover that, because I also want to cover what the UK is doing with respect to the tankers, the Russian tankers that have been seized. But let me see if I can find the video and bring it up. So first of all, I'll play this one where this lady is talking about him. Let me do that.
Spies Africa streams, they hit differently, fam. Way better than his streams anywhere else, especially in Europe. I'm noticing it. And I gotta ask, are you noticing too? Because it's all love over there. The vibes, pure good energy, no drama, no crazy names being yelled at him. Just people vibing, doing his catchphrases, embarking with him like it's a whole movement. And hold up, he even met the president of Angola. You know, he's out here living, doing races, and it's all good times. Honestly, this is the energy we need everywhere. But here's the thing. Why are the people in Africa treating spies so much better than in some other places? Especially Eastern Europe, where it's not always the same vibe. Could it be that people have been misrepresenting Africa for years? Maybe they don't really know the place. I'm just saying, I'm noticing a difference. Africa's showing up, and it's a whole nother level of love and respect. That's what's up.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this video on so that some people hear, you know, you let just listen to this. Hello Fumi, long time no see. However, little nephew has now has know about shows before. He's a big streamer. Yes, I didn't know. I knew zero about him. I'm still shocked that he has got over 47 million subscribers. I don't know, man. Young people, they are crazy. I don't know what he's selling them, but he's quite good. But still, 47 million, that seems like a lot. We are struggling to get how many people subscribing to this channel. Come on, 47 million. What are they doing? Come on, man. Subscribe to this channel. Like, share, and subscribe, for crying out loud. Young people are quite loyal. They subscribe to I Show Speed channel quite a lot. You know, I'm maybe surprised how popular he was, and I don't even know what he really does. I really don't know what he does.
We shall find out. We shall learn more. But whatever the case is, you can see the gaps which I'm telling you about, because the Americans are operating from 4 dimensions. They're operating from sea, they're in the sea. The Latin Americans are not there. They don't have a navy. Then they can come with air force, and then space. They're in space. Now they are trying to come on land, which of course is very risky also for the Americans. There you come near, because even me, who has got a short range, I can harm you. But there you are at an advantage. You are seeing me in space. I'm not seeing you. You're in the ocean. I'm not there. I'm here. So the issue of the strategic security of Africa is very crucial. East African Federation, I'm glad the East African leaders have never given up. Even when we were last in Arusha, they appointed me as an advocate for the Federation, so that we are able to unite our land space, unite our sea space, have more resources to be able to build capacity in the 4 dimensions: on land, at sea, in the air, and in the space. Good space. Must go to space. We can't remain here when other people are in space and you think we are clever. Dancing and watching European football clubs. It's very, very risky for you people. So you should wake up and wake up the young. Yes, the young generation should have pleasure, but also they must have security, a secure future. Yeah. And they have all the potential, because like East Africa is very strong. Because we can use Swahili. They are the same groups. You have Kenyans like Nyangweso, that Nyangweso is a Kenyan, is here. All those Sanyas are from Kenya. Then we have Congolese, all sorts of here, Banyarwanda, they are all. So East Africa is a very powerful unit for the black race. Yes, you can have smaller countries in the world, like in Denmark, but they all have a center of gravity. When they're in trouble, there's a big boy like the US to defend them. Now the African race have no center of gravity. And you are here just dancing in Pakachin, dancing in Pakachin. Very risky very risky. I was young like you. I would also dance, swing girls like this. But I would also remember to fight. Fight, study, fight, work, and dance once in a while. But the problem is that you are now dancing all the time. Like Latin America, you can see Latin America the way it is happening. Why is Latin America miserable? And yet in terms of natural resources, it's actually much richer than the United States. If you look at the water, you look at the minerals, you look at the forests, Latin America is richer than the United States. Why should the United States be more prosperous than Latin America? Because of that difference of integration. When the American colonists separated from England, they formed the nucleus of the United States. The 13 colonies, they formed the nucleus, then they have been adding on. That's why in America you can easily succeed if you are a businessman. Because if you are in New York, you produce a product, you can sell it all the way up to California. 300 million people. Now in Latin America, you are in Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, you are here, if you produce a product, you can't. How would you succeed? Here in Africa, if I produce a product to go to here, I must negotiate, to go there, I must negotiate. That's why we had to try and revive this African community. Now, but there's also the issue of strategic security. That's why for us we support the Federation of East Africa. Because as we speak today, the Americans are on the moon. The Chinese are on the moon. The Russians are on the moon. The Indians have gone to the moon. You fellows, we are here on Earth, here. The Europeans are looking at us from space like they are seeing us, we don't see them. This is very dangerous. And you have all these Katendes, all these fellows, influencers. What are you influencing? Why don't you say, you people are in danger? People are on the moon, we are here. They are seeing us, we don't see them. But can Uganda and the Americans, they have been saying so openly, they say for them, they want to be superior in land forces, superior on land, superior at sea, the Navy, superior in Air Force, superior in space. Where does that leave Africa? Africans are here, dancing Pakachina, dancing Pakachina. Yes, you dance if you want, but please, look at your future. Where is your future? How will you be safe? How will you be safe in the world? So that's why you can bring my tablet. Can you bring my picture? Nikuli. I'm lucky to see this Gen Z Wanange.
Thank you for that. You see, I thought I should play that because everything is said there, you can't disagree with one of them. And I'm not exactly sure why he seems to have the kind of bravery to say what he says. Is it because he's older, or is it because he knows the people that like to tell us what to do are not going to come after him because they know he's already bought out? Because he's an establishment guy. He's been in office for decades, and I'm not seeing a transformation in Uganda. He was one of the leaders that went to the Russian African summit that came back saying they're going to build nuclear power plant in Uganda, but he didn't. He still hasn't done it, from what I gather. I can check to confirm whether Uganda has started, because he did a lot land for it, a lot land for the nuclear power plant. But whether he has done it, I don't know the state is in right now. Let me see what it says on the news. Korea to evaluate proposed Uganda nuclear power plant. This is in May. They are still talking about it. Uganda signs nuclear plant pre-feasibility deal with Korean contractor. June again. November, IAEA mission recognizes Uganda commitment to improve radiation safety. So they are just talking. Talk. Just like he is talking like this now. They talk all the time, but they don't do anything. Egypt that went to the same this is summit, has already started building its own, not talking about it, building it. Egypt went to the same summit as he did. And but he comes and talks like many of our African leaders. Whenever I say black nation, they give you what they call lip service, but they don't do anything. They just talk. The Nigeria went there too. They said they're going to go ahead. No, this current minister that is in office said, no, we don't need nuclear. Why do they do that? Every time they do that. But look at South Africa today. South Africa is branching out on its own. As a matter of fact, it's one of the few black African countries that it's actually taking its foreign policies into its own hand without worrying about. Trump is one of the scariest American presidents. Yet South Africa is not even that fussed about it. They are doing their own thing. Fear nobody. And that's how it's supposed to be. What is the point of being afraid? Maduro was a bit afraid and saying, no, he wants to talk peace. They come and took him anyway. They came and took the guy that wants to talk to you and is happy to bring your oil company back into the country. You still came and took him anyway. So I don't get it. So let me play this video before I start bringing people in. Let's see. I think there was a video of how ice shoe speed was treated in Europe. The lady was talking about Eastern Europe. This is Greece, how it was treated in Greece. It wasn't exactly very nice. So you wonder why African Americans are behaving like this when they see him in in Africa being treated well.
And to see an African American man with his stature go back to the motherland and be treated with so much respect. This is what our people fought for. This is what they fought for when they fought against Jim Crow and segregation. This is what the slave revolts were about. This is what it's always been about. It's to be able to go back home to a home that you've never been and be unapologetically black and not have to think about being black. Just being able to have your natural hair and your brown skin and not be judged and not be racially profiled and not be killed. I love the love that he is getting. And I love the love that all of my African American people are getting in the continent. And I know there's a lot of issues. I know there's a lot of things that need to be worked out. But I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
So, and while all this is going on, some Africans are still wishing for us to be recolonized. So let's leave that one aside for now. But the developments of the week the highlight of the week is probably that of Maduro being taken away, and it is believed that his people sold him out. So that is the topic we want to cover, and the implication in terms of geopolitics. Is there an agreement for a kind of Berlin Conference 2.0 that is going on? Is this something that we recognize? Because if Trump made this arrangement to have Maduro packaged and delivered, it's possible he's not acting recklessly when he goes after Russian ships. Maybe because he knows the Russians will not retaliate. That's why he's doing it. And maybe that's why China is only condemning and not doing much. Maybe the new Berlin Conference is already in place. We don't necessarily, some people say it's not. But the way Trump is behaving, it appears to be that way. Trump is going for Greenland. There's a reason why he wants Greenland. He's very, very serious about it, and he doesn't care what NATO thinks. But we'll see what others think about this, because others may have a point of view that I'm not very much aware of. Most of this is conjecture. It's conjecture. And while the United Kingdom stands, the United Kingdom will not allow Russia to become powerful in Western Europe. United Kingdom is single-handedly the country behind why the West is against Russia, because they believe if Russia becomes powerful in Europe, Russia will rule the world. And maybe that's something Trump thinks he can control. I think Trump probably doesn't care about Africa. So as long as you stay away from Americas, maybe that's all Trump wants. Who knows? I'm not sure, but we'll see what others think about it. Welcome. I'm glad Project 2027, I don't know what the 8 there stands for, but it's something, I'm sure. He will tell us. The regular group. What is that? I'm glad he's here because he's one of the few Nigerians that come on this platform that can actually talk geopolitics. Other times it's more, most of the time he's coherent. So let's hope today is one of those days he's in one of his best moods. You know, we don't want the illiterate mode today. We want the best of the best. Okwegolo, thank you for joining us. What do you make of these events? So far, all the things you've heard, what do you make of it?
Which event?
The Maduro kidnap. Do you think it was packaged and delivered? Or do you think Americans really actually defeated the Venezuelan defense and took him?
To Nigeria, we live in a new world. Something is echoing back.
I think, I think let me take care of it. Go ahead.
We live in a new world. You just basically ramp around what used to be. What part of the change or new world that you don't understand? You are saying using yesterday laws and regulations till they see what is happening. You know, I have always said it. If you don't understand World War I, it's going to be very difficult for you to understand what's going on. You just be jumping from one headline to another. The American planners, there are two things. I can still hear myself.
Okay, let me check. I think say something.
Yeah, I think we're good now. I don't know if you can hear me though, but I'm good from here.
I can hear you.
So there are two things one need to take into heart about the American planners. One thing they wanted is, or they pretty much achieving is, anywhere there is resources on this planet Earth, the first beneficiary should be Americans. That's a goal. That's a dream that they are pursuing. I mean, they are not saying no, come and stop them, but that is their own pursuit. The second is that at the turn of 21st century, there are going to be only two powers in the world. One is the American military. Two, public opinion. And if you ask me as of today, that's what is happening. As you said, after they kidnap Maduro, what else? Everybody they rambling now. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody put out opinion. That's all. That's all you guys have. That's it. So it's a new world. You are focusing on, how they financialize everybody, buy everybody. I tell you, there is a technology coming that nobody is aware yet. No be how you go to chop your food, how you use charge GTP, now you go change. Everything is changing. So what you witness is a swift action. Before they go there, everything has already been analyzed. It's a good thing you are talking about high show speed, high speed, whatever that guy is. But again, you are lost in the window they want you to be looking at. If you remember, when they announced that the end of a USAID, I remember the guy who is leading the Fatherlands, the author of Fatherless People, Wale Ogun, if I'm not mistaken, was here. I'm pretty much celebrating that celebrating the end of USAID with MGD and Co. I said, nah, you guys are missing everything. What you guys should be curious is what is coming to replace it. Because it was a very fine project that works. So they can't just take it out of existence like that. They got to replace it with something. And as there's people should watch out. I'm bringing that points to the high speed of a guy, right? There's a reason why the Europeans treated the way they treated him and the way Africans are treated him. It's out of ignorance on the African part. If you remember, that guy goes around with entourage. Him, Mr. Beast, there are a lot of them like that, at that level of streamers and YouTubers. They go with the entourage that goes with them is, in fact, you can't even put numbers to it, from CIA to, security and everybody. But most importantly, the gadgets that they are working with, all the videos that have been taken, all the streaming, all the pictures. Before, if CIA wants to get any information about those areas, the place that they went to, for instance, the NGOs go the full ground and CIA collecting data. So what they do now is to just collect those videos, right? And put it, then they analyze and get whatever they want. You get just like you now. If you take picture now, if you take my picture, it will tell you this chat where they every time they'll give you the detail, right? Unless you never started to pay attention to those changes yet. So that is the new thing. So when those kind of people come to your environment, it's not just when you see the Europeans are pushing them back because they know. Because if you remember, up to today, I don't think they've settled yet between this AI regulation in Europe and the Americans. So they are still going back and forth. So those are the securities you have to put in place. But we don't know yet, right?
But do you think that it's with the agreement of the Russians and the Chinese that they made any arrangement with them, or Trump is just acting alone?
You guys see they talk about the arrangement. What Trump want? Why Trump? I think They stopped pretty much before, during, and after the 3 hours. All the ships in and out, and that those way they come your country, go that country, was actually were stopped, except the ones that are going to China. Right? Because all they want is you have to buy the oil in dollars.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
So that's also speak to the fact that when they say America, they fight China, like you ask them, what are they asking? Who they fight who? You have to know where you belong before you say you won't fight. Waiting China, they fight to protect. What is America to fight to protect? It's two different things. They are in two different leagues. Right?
Yeah,
And
but
China never
but a lot of even a Russian analyst was saying that the Venezuelans were the ones that handed this to Trump, that it wasn't a real capture, like where they just come in, defeated the military, took over. No, that's not what happened.
You get that's not my problem with that. Well, maybe not.
No, even an American analyst said the same thing. I can share the video with you. An American analyst said the same thing.
Analyzing a successful, waiting be the goal of America now to go take them out. Whatever I talk there are going to be only two powers in the world: the American military and public opinion. It doesn't matter. You can say whatever you want to say. The act has been done. If my goal, right, is to slap you, and if I can slap you virtually and I still get the same effect, what's the point of taking a flight to London or driving to London? Yeah, but so the idea is that they're not going to occupy the place. No, those are yesterday.
No, hold on there though. But the reason why, the reason for saying that is something worth examining, because that reason is because of money. They said it was through money that the weapon that America has was money that they used to buy all those people up. So without that money, and the people actually wanted to fight, that there was no way, given the security posture of that country, that they would have been able to get in with Chinook helicopter while they just. They said they didn't even encounter any of the Russian, any of the Russian or Chinese missile defense system at all.
I'm a very straightforward person. I go straight to the basis. What do they want? Why are they doing this? Did we achieve their goal or not? Once I get to that point, I don't care how they do them. It's that been done. If you want to react, or you just have to stop just keep complaining. That's what is happening.
But hold on now. See, you're not paying attention though. See, because if you look at what Maduro was saying, Maduro was not keeping American companies out. He was saying you can come. So what is the point of doing what they did if it's already saying you should come in?
That's the whole point. That's why. Hold on. I was going somewhere when you stop. You understand? When I say you have to understand what each country wants before everybody could begin jam all this conversation, right? When Trump come into power, right? And I said it here. We even challenge all those doctors. The only way to understand his government is to go back to the 5th president of the United States of America, which is James Monroe. What was that regime about? People don't say. You understand? He's to have absolute dominance in their neighborhood. That's the next stage the Chinese are aiming to control their environment. Because after you achieve your freedom, build your economy, build your military, the next stage, right, is to secure what you have built. The easiest way to do that is to control your neighborhood. Because if anybody won't destroy what you just achieved, now they're your neighborhood, right? That's the stage you are in. So that's what the stage America attained in early 1800, right? So before you say China won't defeat America, won't take over the world, let them be in control of their neighborhood first. So what Trump demonstrated, he said, come, we have not forgotten where we're coming from. We need absolute control of our neighborhood, even though they face drugs and all that. But again, what is the aim? The aim of the Monroe was to change the European power out of their neighborhood, right? Which led them 20 years later, 20 something led them to assemble in Benin and descend on us. So now, if you look at today on, what is the goal? The goal is to keep the Chinese, the Russian, the Iranian out of their neighborhood. Now, you can disagree or agree with them, but that's the mission, right? And by so doing, to contain China, not be able to dominate its environment. Because once you dominate your neighborhood, the next thing, now to go outside and take over the world.
But did you hear what Trump said about China and Taiwan? Did you hear what he said?
Which
he said it's up to China. He said it's up to China to decide what to do with Taiwan. That's why people are saying this. He said it's up to China to decide what to do with Taiwan.
Hold on. Because whatever you do, there will be a reaction. That's exactly.
Yeah, he didn't say. Normally, they would say they will react, but he didn't say anything this time. No, normally they say something else. That's my point. People are suspecting that they reached an agreement.
See, let's wait.
Why do you think they're all quiet? All of them are quiet. They are not saying much.
I just made it clear that turning to the 21st strategy, there's going to be two powers. The American military might have public opinion.
No,
they
I
are
think
not
you are
saying you
just
should
making
not
that
do
one up.
anything. You understand? They are not telling you not to do anything, but do it. Right? So you have to understand where everybody and what everybody vision is to order before people just say, oh, China want to take over the world. No. You go crawl first before you grow. So, in an attempt to secure the neighborhood, right, is to extend outside to do business everywhere, which is the One Belt, One Road initiative. So America is attacking that One Belt, One Road initiative from outside, not from inside.
Okay, we'll see. Maybe you're right. Let me bring Okpara in. Yeah.
So now, if you not look
hold on. I want to bring Okpara in because we have to end at 3 hours.
Yeah, let me land.
Then we'll have to start again. All right.
You have to equate national security strategy of Trump to Berlin 1845. If you look at our own 3 paragraph, right? That they are going to be with the ally and fight over us, right? What that means. So what took them to Berlin 1845 is about us, and that's exactly what it's about. So that's where we should be concerned about. I don't think we should be concerned because Bola Tinubu said never come. If they don't tell us they will bomb them again, we are not. I don't know why we don't even talk about that. Trump Grant interview with New York Times, and he said he's going to do it again. That means the agreement has not been reached, and we never see our president.
That is true. The problem with Nigeria is that we are not South Africa. You see, South Africa is demonstrating far more independence than Nigeria can ever muster. That is a shame because most people don't even know that. We think that we are stronger than South Africa. But South Africa is showing that they are more independent minded.
That regional power before us. And they will do it as soon as all these things, if they're not finished them, but I believe they will succeed. Because they are very focused on economic freedom. Every other thing is covered. They are not fighting with themselves like the way they kill they fight with religion and ethnicity and all those nonsense. They are in control of that. They are in control of their government, not just that economy. And once they get that, they
might actually overtake Nigeria, because in the world where Donald Trump is creating right now, it's a free for all. There's no anymore. There's nothing like that.
On our leaders, I don't know, but I will say they are playing non-alliance. That's where they are going. But there is a cost to that. So if they can hold on to that, right? and because they are so compromised, that's why we don't get confidence in them. Right? Because I'm actually supporting our government at this point. I'm supporting our government, right? But if we can get out of this and see how both the Chinese and the America as a partner, that will be unstoppable.
Okay, we'll see.
Can our leaders, which do they also belong to, can they save us? Can they put their personal greed behind?
Let's bring Okpara in. Let's bring Okpara in. Mazi. What do you make of this? What do you make of this event? Because Mazi sounds good to say now. It makes me happy to say Mazi. Because I know what it means. Is it not like a chief or a kind of king?
Mazi is just Mr.
Seriously? Oh God, this is a very, very magnificent Mister. Because when people say, they say like they are calling a chief, but it's all right. Misters are also people. So, but what do you make of these events of the week? Because it might actually reconfigure Africa, and if that happens, South Africa may actually become, at least in the meantime, they may actually have the capacity to become the most powerful country in Africa, because they do have submarines, they have nuclear power stations, and they used to have nuclear weapons, and they decommissioned it, but the fissile material, they still have them. So, and if you look at the way South Africa is behaving today, it's not like Tinubu now. Trump is angry with him, and he didn't go to G20 summit again. And so it shows you how weak we are. And the capture of Maduro, are you one of those people that call it arrest? Are you one of those people that call it arrest?
I call it kind of adoption. It's adoption, but sometimes you have to give away, get somebody out of your way to achieve what your goals, So I think that's what Trump did there. And capturing Maduro is not Trump's doctrine, because last week on this program, I read here that it was, in fact, Joe Biden even put bounty on him, about $25 million. And he said, arrest him anywhere you see him, whether in Venezuela, whether outside Venezuela, arrest him no matter what, at all costs. So that's American doctrine. So Trump is the person that fulfilled that executive order, but it was American doctrine. You mentioned of South Africa. I think South Africa, I would say that they are lucky that the white minority there were able to develop that country to an extent before they got their independence. I think that is I would say that is kind of they are lucky somehow, because assuming they got independent when Nigeria got independent, maybe Nigeria would have been a paradise compared to South Africa. That is my own opinion, because if you look at those South African countries that got their independence lately, you would understand, or you would agree with me, that they are civilized, far civilized, mentally, they are far civilized than, infrastructure, they are more civilized than West Africa and East Africa that got their independence earlier. If you go to, I have a brother who lives in Botswana. Before he was living in Namibia, before he married a Botswana and moved to Botswana. And the kind of infrastructure they have there is can't compare with Nigeria. So I believe that the minority white did great things, positively and negatively to South Africa. Now, if you come to Venezuela, Trump, I think Trump was a very clever person, because European Union were trying to catch up that market, Venezuela market, because they have been negotiating with South America for more than 25 years. So I think there was a leak, that these people are trying to ratify that agreement. I mean, my own observation, my own, maybe conspiracy theory. So Trump moved ahead of them, captured that market, seized everything, and yes, the day before they signed, they had no other option than to sign the agreement, because they have been negotiating this since 25 years. So it didn't come to, it was a surprise, even on television here, that's what German societies are even complaining, say that why should you delay this kind of thing, and now you all of a sudden you start signing that sort of agreement, to them 25 years to do it. So I believe that Trump is not Trump, but America is America first. Forget about the name Trump. If somebody comes in next 4 years, I think he will follow the same the same doctrine. He wouldn't say, "Oh no, Venezuela, get back your oil," and then that's it. He will still follow the footstep of Trump. Maybe slightly different, but I don't think he will call American companies back out of Venezuela. One thing with this geopolitical narrative. It depends where you listen to. If you listen to a pro, like let's say the right, not far right, the right, you understand why Trump moved into Venezuela. I was listening to one professor, he's a Chinese professor. He was so angry with Chinese. In fact, he warned African countries, if you depend on China and Russia, you're on your own. That these people, when you need them, they will never be there. That even in fact, I sent the clip, very interesting young man. He said that where was Russia and China when America and Israel was bombing their best ally in the Middle East, I mean Iran? They did nothing. Now look at how America went and captured or adopted their best ally in that region, South America, and they did nothing. He warned Africa that you Africa, you are clapping for Russia and China. When you are in trouble, nobody will come. They will not come to your rescue, and that is, I believe, that's 100%. America is far, far, far ahead of these people you are talking about. Somebody is talking about maybe in 60 years, you will see China doing what? The kind of poverty that is in China. I have a cousin who lives in China, and he comes here every summer. My brother, the kind of poverty that is in China, you won't believe it. And let me tell you, all these Europeans, you see them, whether you see them in America, in South America, in Europe, they are one people. If they want to bring down China economy, they will do it because China depends on them. If they pull out their companies in China, China will just like a balloon. You puncture it and it will just blow, lose air.
Yeah, but does that not because we are assuming that, I think that's what OVA is doing too. You're assuming that all this is happening without the blessing of China and Russia, because you said it yourself. China and Russia is not going to come and save anybody. You are not aware whether they've reached some kind of accommodation from behind the scenes, which some people are arguing. As a matter of fact, an American analyst, I'll play the video so you hear what he says about this. This is somebody that has worked in nuclear submarines and all the rest. Based on its own analysis, say this is what is going on. But please go ahead.
Do you know that some Chinese delegates were in Caracas when this operation happened? Very senior Chinese government delegates. They were there.
It's going to the point that I'm making.
So America have told China and Russia, take away your hand from these people. It is an inside job. Because even this lady, now the vice president, now that the interim president now, she knew what happened. This is just a deal. That is why you see in Caracas, there's no shooting, there's no war between pro-Maduro and anti-Maduro. Because people were expecting to see a clash, but there were none, because that was, America have told them, Maduro is not good for you. Maduro lost the election. Give us Maduro and let there be peace, and let there be, let there be communication between Washington and Caracas, and that's what happened. Definitely, there were insiders. Just like if a military coup happen in Nigeria or somewhere in Cameroon or anywhere, there must be an insiders.
Yeah.
People sold people to get what they want. This lady you see now that is, making some noise in Caracas, she's an insider. She knew what happened. That's why they didn't touch her. No American soldier was killed. Nothing, just bang, 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 and that was a three-hour operation. That was it. So there were insiders. America told Russia, "Don't intervene. We don't want to have another Cuba crisis, very close to us. Allow us to deal with these people, and later we make peace." That's my own opinion, and I believe that.
So you don't think that America traded this in Ukraine and many parts of Europe away? Why do you think America is asking for Greenland?
Definitely, because when you follow Ukrainian conflict very well, you understand that some Americans never wanted NATO to expand. To expand, because it was when this guy, what do you call the guy now is dead. I think John McCain and all those new conservative, they were pushing this NATO, closer to Russia. That's where this problem started, because I have lived here for a very long time. When Boris Yeltsin was the president of Russia, Europeans were having, a very good relationship with Russia, because the young man, or that man, was like, he was very open to them. The agreement was there's nothing like no NATO expansion to eastern flank. Stay where you are. Don't expand more. So when conservative American conservatives came, they said no. Let us rattle Russia. Russia is weak. Let us go further. And they went further, and that is where we are today. So all these crises you see here, it's big boys crisis, and they'll find their way anyway. They'll get around it. But I hope it will escalate to people are talking about Third World War, Fourth. No. These people, Anglo people, they will never fight themselves. They will never. Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right, let me bring in Jide. Okay, I think some people are still settling down for the evening. Jide, thank you for joining us. So I will let you describe, try to simplify it in a way anybody that doesn't know much about geopolitics can be able to relate, and try to explain to us what is going on here from your findings, observing what has been going on throughout the week. Is this something that is somehow arranged in terms of taking Venezuelan leader away? Do you think Trump seems to have the blessings of say Russia and China? What do you make of because America went after Russian ships, something they've never done in a long time. So what do you make of this?
Yeah, I'll try to make it as simple as possible, like you said. Okay. Thank you so much, Professor. It's good to see you. Greetings to everyone on the panel, and greetings to everyone listening. If the chain of events that has been going on for the past couple of weeks or days now, it's showing something which is very clear. Just to put things in context, Netanyahu and Donald Trump, they've been together from the holiday time. They've been together diplomatically, even they went on break or something. I don't know what they are conspiring, but just to put things in context, that they've actually been together. There are two presidents of two different countries that are strong allies, and they've been together of recent. And as they've been together, a lot of chains of events have happened and are still happening. Major significant events. So I'll put that in perspective for everyone to know. Having said that, I think now maybe Netanyahu is back to Israel. I don't know, but having said that, what has gone on in Venezuela? It was actually the agenda was a regime change by the US. The agenda was regime change. What we call regime change is removing a particular political, a particular government, removing them from power, not just the individual, but decapacitating the entire government of a particular regime that the US government do not like, and replacing them with a regime or with a government that serves the interests of the United States and the West, and not the interest of its own people. That is what was the agenda for long term. They tried taking Hugo Chavez, it failed. They imposed US sanctions to make life difficult for Venezuelan people, to make them suffer, to make them live in misery so that they can go against Maduro. It failed because Maduro has always stood with the people, despite the hardship. The people also stood with Maduro. There were also a lot of people in Venezuela that do not like Maduro. The agenda is to create a regime change operation and replace Maduro's government, not just Maduro, but the entire political architecture within the Maduro's political space with US-friendly governments. Before the capture of Maduro, Maduro's government have been engaging with Donald Trump, about how they can, access the oil, how they can negotiate and reach some diplomatic agreements so that the United States is not going to militarily intervene in Venezuela, because since a lot of ships have been within the coast of Venezuela, and since they've been killing a lot of innocent people that have been moving within the Venezuelan coast, by the US government, they've been trying to contain Venezuela and invade Venezuela. That has been what has been going on from last year. But during that period, there have been intense negotiation, and it looked like they didn't reach any agreement. So now the next stage, which is to invade Venezuela or to actually go after Maduro. So what happened was, from what are my findings, from my legitimate findings, there was definitely an insider. It does not have anything to do with Russia and China. Yes, there were Chinese diplomats, but it did not have anything to do with Chinese governments conspiring with the US government to take out Maduro at all. It was just pure coincidental. So what you have is they were definitely I think the presidential guard of Maduro, but the head of the guard was actually complicit with the intelligence agency to ensure the capture of Maduro was very easy. So that was how it was easy. In fact, the air defense system, there was no air defense system. Everything, in fact, there was no preparedness for the capture of Maduro. By the Venezuelan army. They were all they were unaware. So it was the presidential guard and the presidential security architecture that were involved. And in fact, a lot of the people that were victims of the missile strike by the US before the capture of Maduro were actually not all of them were Venezuelans. A lot of them were even Cubans. They were not even Venezuelans. So the Venezuelan military was not aware. Having said that, they captured Maduro. The idea is they do not want to send troops on the ground to invade Venezuela because that will lead to a huge cost of lives. They do not want that. So what they want to do instead is they want to go in and come out immediately, which is what they did. They came in, captured Maduro, went out. Their interpretation, which I don't know, I'm surprised that they will have that kind of interpretation. But the US government's interpretation was that taking out Maduro would lead to mayhem and chaos. You know what I mean? There'll be a vacuum.
Or consider this. What if they took him out knowing full well that he is just the one they want out, but since the regime is already saying they were going to sell oil to them, they are willing to work with them already. So this one is just more of a show, and the regime was willing to sell Maduro out because what is the point? We are not leaving. He is just him, and if we sell him and they will still give America the deal, maybe even Maduro himself was willing to give the US. So the question is whether they stop giving China oil because America is now in charge. Maybe that is actually the main reason why America is doing this. It's a very, very strange dynamics.
There's a strong disagreement between Venezuela government and the US government. The US government's interest is different from the Venezuelan government's interest. Like you said, you are right. The Venezuelan government is open to multinationals because they have a huge oil reserve, very huge oil reserve. In fact, the largest in the world. So actually, to be fair to the Venezuelan government, they are diplomatic, very diplomatic. You can come, have some percentage of access, but we want some percentage what we can use to develop our country, to invest in our people. You understand? So, but what you have is the US government is, let's take it all. We want to take it all. That is where the disagreement is. And we do not want Russia and China to have access. If Russia and China even want to have access, it has to be through our multinational corporation. So that's the context. Venezuela do not want that. Venezuela wants, let us have our own benefits of this oil, where we can nationalize our oil. We can take some parts, you know, but we want to have our own share. That is even the disagreement with Maduro. That is the current disagreement with Delcy Rodriguez. So the policy, the economic policy of Venezuela has not changed, even under Delcy Rodriguez. In fact, Delcy Rodriguez is even more radical than Maduro. Let me give the story of Maduro, in case everyone do not know.
No. Let's not go into that right now, because I wanted to share some information.
It's not a long story. Like, Maduro did not even want to come into power when Chavez was about to die and, you know, pass. Yeah, he was a bus driver. He was a downfall, like Nigeria, all these downfall drivers. He was a bus driver. He was the head of a union.
Wow.
And he was just one of those regular guys in the Chavista Revolutionary Guard, you know. And Chavez was
he looks like an ex-military officer. Was he ex-military?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Hugo Chavez said that you will be the next appointment. He said he doesn't want to even.
Sorry, hold on. Shabaka, wave to us, please, just to make sure you're a human being. I don't want you to change to something else. Yeah, nice one. Welcome. Go ahead, Jide.
So basically, it was like he doesn't want to come to power. He doesn't want, but he eventually took power. But that's by the way. But Delcy Rodriguez is even more radical. Our family is a staunch communist. Our father was killed by the CIA. She's very radical. So the governments, the interior minister, all of them, they are still intact. In fact, now the people of Venezuela have now mobilized more. The people of Venezuela have mobilized more to anticipate any military intervention by the US. Now, in fact, in addition to that, the what are they calling it? The House of Rep and Congress in Venezuela, they are now more leftists now. So now, I think there was a kind of like an election or something. I don't know if it was an election, but now there's now a complete reshuffle. It's now full leftist Chavistas. So before, all those pro Machado, they used to be there before. They used to compete. Now, it is now full Chavistas. Even Maduro's son is even part of the parliament. I think it's part of the parliament. Someone can correct me. So now, they are even now staunch, but they are still open to negotiation, no doubt. They are still negotiating with Trump. But the one assumption was that the US government were thinking whoever will replace him will now compromise. They could easily manipulate. That was why he said he threatened that lady after he praised her. He threatened her that if she did not do what she's being told, she will even face worse than Maduro.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's very
thank you.
Thank you.
Let me bring KJ in. KJ is next. KJ is next. Thank you for joining us, KJ. You know, this development, you know, there's some part of this stuff that I feel like people are not catching on to. That there is a struggle, there's a fourth struggle going on in the world where people are losing their jobs due to automation, and the people that are only getting rich are the top people. Now, let me play this so that you capture what this lady has to say about what just happened in Venezuela. Let me just play this quickly.
And I'm not kidding about that. I mean, he's talking about how don't have to worry about spending tens of billions of dollars in extracting oil from Venezuela because the US taxpayers will reimburse them for it. They're going to privatize gains, socialize losses. Always, always. So congratulations, America. You're all working hard, you're paying your taxes, you're seeing your money robbed by your federal government to fund foreign wars and essentially oil seizures on behalf of oil companies who I'm now learning that the profits from said oil isn't going to be sent to the Treasury. Trump announced this apparently. It's going to be sent to offshore accounts. Congratulations. Congratulations. Making America great again. America first.
So there is that dynamics that is going on, and it's not only in America, it's going on globally, where the rich, the powerful ones, you know, the cloud billionaires they are making themselves richer and richer and more powerful at the expense of even Western populations, not just only poorer countries like Venezuela. It's also affecting Western population, and this is a form of corrupt practice that is going on, and it's been going on for a long time. This is why the gap between the rich and the poor is expanding, even in Western countries. So what do you make of it from that point of view? Because Trump appears to be saying that he's helping Americans, but in reality, he seems to be helping the oil companies. He told them about the attack, but he didn't tell Congress, he didn't tell anybody else other than oil companies. What do you make of it?
Forefather, I think sometimes when the source that you get news maybe influence your final conclusion. But if you follow history, you will find out that this Venezuela has been in the American radar for so long. Earlier, Ovie mentioned the Monroe theory, okay, who was an American head of president, who said that the aim of their country, or his aim at that time, was to control the hemisphere for which they belong. Half of the hemisphere will be under their control. This is there for anybody who cares to do research. So it's not even what Trump, it's a policy that's been an American policy for even before Trump even ventured into politics. So this is what it is. Now, I want to make my contribution very short because I don't want to go all over like Guinea is praising Maduro, the same Maduro who didn't win election and that brought people into the streets of Caracas to run cars over people. The internet is there now. You don't have to shake your head. You shake your head if what people are saying it cannot be verifiable. You can go to the internet and find out how he got to be in the government. And then you keep celebrating this thing that people are. Have you seen what's going on in the street of Caracas? I don't know where you get your own information, but it's okay. I mean, that's what you want to believe. It's okay. Now, let's go to what happened. There is a continuous division of power right now. And that power is no longer the source. It's no longer just material. It is going to be technologically driven, idea driven. Okay? Now, where did it start from? China all of a sudden realized that silver was going to be the next, warfare is going to be on silver, and decided to put a tag on how much silver China can sell to you. Okay? And now, if they control that, they will control how much development you can make in your own hemisphere or your own country. So the plan to take over Venezuela the way it was done was not even this America idea, but America outplayed Europe. And just like Okpara said earlier, America was overplayed Europe, who were taking their time to decide when they want to do that. All Trump did was to go ahead of all of them. And that's why even the officials of China who have come to make another different deal, which doesn't have to do what America went to do there, were in the country when America went in there. And to tell me that there was no insider. Didn't you hear what President Trump said? They blanketed the whole country. They blew out the system of their electricity, and they jammed their radars, and they carried out their this and got away. He said that what they use there, no other country has it. Didn't you listen to it? Or you think the man is joking? They went there fully prepared to do what they wanted to do, and they didn't want to spill any blood, which is very good on their side. Okay? And what am I trying to say? The world has come into a new era. Just like we have been saying, or maybe let me say, forefathers have been saying so long. It is now for the people who are leading their country to sit down and deal with their strategists, okay? To know how to now figure, to now guard your own nation as against what is coming. Because whether you like it or not, it is coming. We have been saying it here, it is coming. Okay? Now, what happened? These guys went there to not only secure, if you listen, the president said, yeah, they want the oil, but not the oil, but also very rare mineral resources that is in that place. So they are securing, first of all, for their own industry, and they're securing also for the future of America. Remember, every empire, after a while, begins to what? Nosedive. Okay? So if we go through the history, after 250 years, we should expect that America should be declining. But these guys have studied so much that they are now trying to position their country for the next 25 years. I said 25, 250 years. And so any intelligent country now, whether big or small, have to begin to gather your brain people, your technocrats, sit with them and say, what is going on in the world? How do we read and how do we intervene? Let me tell you this. Even England is not happy with what Donald Trump has done because they have their own different plan for this same Venezuela. Europe is not happy with Donald Trump. You see? So, but the man is, like I said earlier in the program, he's an American president. He's not the president of the world. He has not come to help you people develop your country. He's, first of all, his interest, like any one of us who lead any country, your first interest is to your country. Now, if your own state president or whoever is leading your country refuse to do that, that's their business. You cannot come and begin to point hand to this man and say, look at what he's doing. And Jide, let me tell you something. You keep saying he was ready to play game. No, America gave him numerous chances. They even said to him, you can go with your wealth, whatever you have gathered. Just leave quietly, and then we'll forget about you. And if you want to verify what I'm saying, Rubio said that in the first interview he gave. He said, we gave him enough chance to take, just slip out and be at peace with yourself. But he didn't want to do that. So for America to secure that hemisphere, which they've always said from the Monroe's theory or doctrine, is to first take that country. Nobody's going to stop it. And the Greenland we are talking about now, is it today that America started talking about Greenland? They started talking about Greenland almost like how many years ago? Maybe almost like 50 years ago, that they wanted to secure America by securing Greenland. These things that are there. It's just like when before Trump moved the headquarters of Israel. Previous heads of states, previous presidents of America have decided to do that. They've been putting that in their budget and saying it every time. They're going to move it. Nobody moved it until Trump came. And then when we say this, we also forget that Obama, who is our man, brought down a presidential jet to check to see if Snowden was inside. That didn't worry you. People didn't blow off the top. He went into Libya. And look at what Libya is today. You guys are not talking about that. And then I don't want to go into other places where things were done and those countries have been left the way they are now. So am I trying to justify anyone? No, I'm just simply saying, let us balance our thinking, our theory, what we feel. Let's not look from the point of hate, but look from the point of analyzing and balancing out everything that has been done over the time. And that's what I would say on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not like judging Trump by this. I'm just looking at the power dynamics, what is happening. And I must say, just to his credit, he didn't go into a dirty war. He doesn't seem to like that. He likes to hit and run. That is his thing. As a matter of fact, I heard him say on CNN that this Putin that just keeps Russian war just keep going on and on and on. It doesn't seem to like that type of war. And if that is the way he wants to do his own business, maybe it's not always a bad thing. But the world is realigning itself based on what he has he seems to be doing.
Just to reply within 30 seconds. So the thing is, either there was a defense system or whoever, there was traitor or not. What matters is that they captured Maduro. And what matters is that they've not decapacitated that regime. And another thing that matters is that they've not achieved their goal in Venezuela.
You keep saying that. They are wrong. They don't want to decapitate it. If they wanted, they would do that. If they wanted to do that, if the person who comes into your house and carries your father, what's stopping him from carrying the children?
They don't want to
what are
do
you
it.
saying now?
They don't want to do it. They want to do it. What matters
Maybe the children sold the father out. Maybe that's what happened here. We don't know.
Finish my point.
Let me bring Shabaka in.
Let me my final statement. So the thing I wanted to say at
30 seconds.
The end of the day is that what has happened afterwards? What has happened? They did not achieve all their goals, or even if they did not capacitate the regime, and finally, their reputation has been completely damaged. Look at all over the world. Look at America's image. But I'll stop there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jide. Shabaka, I'm not sure I've seen you here before. Have you been here before?
No, this is my first time on the panel.
Okay, all right. Good to have you here. I don't know. You sound like an American. Welcome. That said, what do you make of this action from Donald Trump? Because the question I asked KJ earlier on was regarding the way the funds are to be used, because there's this idea that the funds are being shifted to offshore accounts. It's not going to benefit the American public. And there is also the idea that I thought this was supposed to be about democracy. The moment they remove Maduro, nobody cares about the opposition in Venezuela anymore. They just seem to have sidelined them. And what do you make of it? And do you see any sense that this is an arrangement between the powers of the world, like China, Russia, you know, a kind of arrangement that they now have? They can do whatever they like in their own hemisphere.
I would agree with most of what Jide was saying in regards to the dynamics that are occurring in Venezuela currently. I would say people don't factor in that United States multinational corporations have more direct influence on United States foreign policy than anything else, any other entity in the country. I don't think that this directly had anything to do with China or Russia. That's just collateral damage. What really made Trump go into Venezuela is the heads of ExxonMobil and the heads of Conoco and Phillips. So when Hugo Chavez nationalized the oil reserves, Conoco, Phillips, and ExxonMobil lost millions and millions of dollars. And Trump is just going back within Venezuela to recapture that. And ever since OPEC in the 1970s did their oil embargo, the United States has valued oil energy independence. So that's why Greenland is a major contributor. Well, they're trying to make Greenland a major contributor. But I mean, people keep saying, I've heard there's a reoccurring theme on here that it's a new era. It's not a new era. What's occurring right now has always occurred ever since America has came into power, and even it being a continuation of the United Kingdom. It's imperialism. Again, the brother brought up the Monroe Doctrine and the Roosevelt correlate. This right now is the Trump correlate. The Trump corollary. All he's doing is furthering past precedents set by the United States government, securing resources for the corporations that, again, run the United States ultimately. So this is not a democracy. This is what you would call a corporatocracy. The corporations directly run and influence this country more than any other entity in this country. Then the citizens don't benefit to the degree that people that are outside the country would say. We have an increased standard of living due to the resources that they commandeer, but again, we don't receive our direct portion from that.
That's interesting. You call it a corporatocracy. I've never heard those terms before. And I think that is another struggle that the populations of the world will have to engage in, because it's going to become sharper and sharper as time goes by because of the advent of automation. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs, and these people are going to become richer and richer. And but based on this action, you also saw the ships that were intercepted. This is not normal, or is it that America intercepts Russian flagships that Russians are telling them not to go and intercept? And you look at the way China seems to be a little bit muted about the entire thing. I'm not even sure Putin has come out and made any particular speech about all the events of the week. What do you make of that?
I just don't think that China and Russia are in position to do anything as of now, especially not Russia. Russia's dealing with Ukraine right now, and I don't think that Venezuela was a big enough chip for them to intervene, for them to even feel like to intervene. Russia's benefit for Venezuela was to lessen sanctions that could possibly happen from the United States because they were getting oil at such a cheap rate. But outside of that, they did have some resource deals that were in place, but again, Venezuela is not a big enough factor for Russia to try to intervene with that. With the United States government, they're becoming more blatant right now as far as just having it more in public because Trump is in office and he set precedents before to where he's just going to be out loud with it. But he's not. The United States government isn't doing anything different. They're just more upfront with it now that Trump is in office.
That is quite interesting, that he's been upfront. To be fair, I've seen it. A lot of people have said it before, but most people don't see that aspect of the American power. That said, regarding, because I just discovered this week that, Europe is buying Russian gas, quite a lot of it as it stands. And then they are busy sanctioning other people not to trade with Russia at the same time. And if you look at the way Putin with Ukraine war is going, is it that Russia is doing the geopolitics that Russia is playing seems to be all wrong somehow? Because Russia is not like China that is like, oh, I don't want to, engage in national politics and everything. but their geopolitics seems to be a little bit off. They don't seem to be defending their allies the way they used to before under the Soviet Union. They don't seem to be, they just seem to be completely consumed with Ukraine war, that they don't seem to even be in a hurry to win. What do you think is going on with Russia? Can you make any sense of that? Because I don't understand their strategy.
I don't think like their direct allies that have been affected. I don't think they view them like as more beneficial than they are liabilities. That's why I don't think that they've really defended them like that. But I think by all means they're trying to avoid direct conflict with their quote unquote enemies with the United States, China as well. I think China and Russia are posturing themselves in order to get away from the United States being the reserve currency economically. I don't think they don't want a direct conflict right now, because if a direct conflict occurs between China and Russia and the United States, it's going to be very, very grave damage for the world. It's going to damage the environment, and it's going to be mass casualties. Modern warfare is not it's not going to be anything to play with. So I think all of the nations are just posturing right now because they don't want direct conflict to occur.
That is interesting. But you see, this brings me to one of my theories, or more of my Sigmund Freud kind of situation that makes me like a geopolitical psychologist that I like to call. It's just a funny term that I use. But I said, what you just said just now, that the Chinese and the Russians seems to be wanting to avoid direct head-on conflict with the West because of the consequences. But somehow the West don't seem to care. They seem to be like throwing everything off. It brings me to the question I've always asked most people that are the observers of the West. Do you think the West needs some war counseling or something? Because, they've gained a lot from conflict. These are the guys that won the First and Second World Wars, and they've used nuclear weapons, and they've gained a lot of power from it. And based on psychology alone, it means that they are more likely to resort to violence, and that's what you are seeing now. If they carry on like this, sooner or later, they are either going to be stopped somehow, or they stop themselves. Where do you think this is going to end?
That remains to be seen. It all depends on how strategic China and Russia operate. I think that if they play the long game, America will just implode on itself on its own. Just because if they continue economically, the United States economic system is going to implode. I mean, with our promissory debt notes, our fiat, they're not worth anything. The only thing that stabilizes the United States economy is it being the world's reserve currency. China economically has the edge. I mean, manufacturing wise, a lot of what the United States does is within China's borders. People say that China's directly relying on them having their multinational corporations and their manufacturing, but I think China, if they keep going in the direction that they're going, their economy will overtake the United States. But again, the United States operates with impunity because they know that they have the current advantage. They're solidifying their energy independence, and that's what they're doing right now to keep that foothold.
Nice one. Thank you for that. And I think the point that they are looking to the Chinese and the Russians are pivoting towards currency, this in reducing the power of the dollar. And a lot of people have said, I think somebody mentioned that they even lost Saudi Arabia recently. They didn't renew their dollar, monopoly, so that's the way they sell their oil in dollars. So you seem to have a point there. Maybe that's why they are not that fussed about it. Who knows? So let me go to this. Let me move on to the next. I really appreciate your input. I hope you join us again, because you appear to answer your questions straight, not like some rough people that will start calling people out here. And that's one. You're always welcome
Nice
here.
one. Yeah,
who is next? I think it's Masca now. Masca is next. Masca, welcome, Masca. Thank you for joining us, Masca. I wanted to play this video so that some people hear what this guy said about this, because everybody seems to assume that this is normal, this thing. But this guy, let me play this guy's video so you guys can hear him. He's an American that has been in the field.
Have an enormous amount of questions in. Why was it so easy? Because it was very easy. And how do you get Maduro in bed when the country is being hit by over 100 2,000-pound bombs? We use that bomb, the graphite bomb, which goes into the electrical substations, blows up over them, and shorts out the entire substation. What's missing from this is where was the armed forces of Venezuela's military forces? If there was the art of the deal being carried out here, it was carried out over the last 4 months with the assistance of the CIA and other governments, where the government of Venezuela had him already controlled and packaged and turned over. And all they had to do was go in and neutralize the final group for show and walk him out. Because 28 minutes in and out from Trinidad is a little fast.
Hello and welcome to the Trump Report. I'm Louis Sykes. Today we are joined by Malcolm Nance, intelligence and foreign policy analyst and a former cryptologist in the US Navy. Malcolm, welcome back.
Good to see you.
It's great to have you back on with us, Malcolm. You've really been keeping us abreast of what's going on in Venezuela at the moment, and we at Times Radio and our audience are, of course, very grateful for that. Well, Nicolas Maduro is currently on his way to a New York courtroom, it seems. We'll discuss where that leaves Venezuela and who is actually pulling the strings there now. But first of all, I wanted to look back at that raid on Caracas as more details have emerged today, which our audience can also read about in the Times. Let's break this down. We know this started with a stealth reconnaissance drone guiding in this massive fleet of aircraft. What was that made up of, and what do they seem to have actually done? Because we've seen a lot of bangs and crashes over the weekend.
Well, let's step back because it probably wasn't just that stealth drone, right? That's just one. The RQ-170 drone is a high altitude surveillance drone, but it's still an aerial platform, right? Aerial platforms can get bounced around by turbulence and crash, right? So we would never rely just on that. But going all the way back, this started in August when the war on drugs was forming, but it really was part of an intelligence finding presidential memorandum, which was signed in July, which sent CIA and other, military assets into the region. So this is a very, very long lead. The only question was, what were all those forces going to do when they arrived? And as we saw, they started sinking drug boats, which technically were extra legal, murders, because there's no justification to sink someone in a small craft without any legal finding or even knowing what they have in there. So that created a lot of consternation. But Trump is executing. Let's go to the 100,000 meter look, right? Trump is executing a policy that he has very clearly discussed with Vladimir Putin and is part of a Putinist doctrine that was developed by a man named Alexander Dugin. The neo-Eurasianist theory in which Europe would fall under the influence and control of Russia, the United States would take control of the Western Hemisphere, a la the Monroe Doctrine of the 1840s, which led up to the Mexican-American War, and China would be given, full run of the house of Africa, parts of the Indian subcontinent, and Asia, and that has actually now happened. Okay.
So that is what his opinion is, and this is somebody within the intelligence community that used to work on, he seems to know what he's talking about, but I'm not sure. But the science seems to point to that. That's why I keep asking the question: how is it that America is going after Russian tankers and Russia just seems quiet? China pretend as if they don't know what is going on. They barely even asked for Maduro to be set back. The first time the Chinese and the Russians made a statement, they didn't even ask for Maduro to be brought back. They just condemned it. That seems very weak. And maybe this guy has a point, but people are not seeing what is going on. I think it was Masca that was to speak. Yeah, Masca. I don't know what you make of this. You can approach this from any angle, whether from the tanker angle or Maduro's kidnap angle or any angle you want to come at it, because I'm sure we are not covering all the angle. But what do you make of what the former officer is saying?
Oh, well, okay, so first things first, good evening, forefathers. Good to see you in 2026.
Good to see you too.
I would have to single out Mr. KG and say good evening and good to see you in 2026 also. And to the rest of the panelists, I would say good evening and good to see you guys too. I didn't, I think I was thrown out. I didn't get fully what he's saying. The only conclusive part at the end, it seems as if he is proposing a theory that the world would be divided among three powers. What I can tell you is that I won't succumb to his theory. And the simple reason is that I do have one good understanding about America's mentality as to power. America's mentality is not to share power. That I doubt if in the next 100 years America will come to be like that. I don't see it ever happening. Everything America does clearly is to make sure either I think they believe the people that run that country philosophically believe that the way power works is either you're on top or you're under. Yeah, you need to go and listen to even the basic arguments. There, I will send you a video where I think it's Jeffrey Sachs is arguing with another person, and that was the major argument. People like Jeffrey Sachs are like, no, you can't have that idea of like it's either you're on top or nothing. You have to find a way of having to coexist with other people, you know. So I don't buy that like guy's argument. America, look at it for starters, okay? Look at the way America fights China. If today America it's gonna let China have peace anywhere in the world, it's simply because in my mind that America must have seen that, okay, look, we've lost. And maybe what they are doing is just, how do I call it now? See, I wish I could speak in Hausa, like, Shura Mutua. Like, look, when somebody is dying, you would see the spasms. His body is going to be, you know, it's going to be in bits and jacks.
How dare you, calling the great power spasm?
West, do you know how Britain was, the British Empire? America can never, ever be like the British Empire, as much as they wish to dream. But where is the British Empire today? This is, look, even the China we talk about, people don't know what China was in the olden days. All these things, the guns, the books, the writing we talk about, even cultivation, irrigate, all these things came from China. So it's not like we're even talking about what does America, what had they contributed to civilization really, in the real sense of the word. So it's not like they are a big deal. I'm not writing them off in any way, but I'm just saying that the history of life.
Let me share something before today that maybe that's where he's gleaning his opposition from, because there was this report. I think I even highlighted this report on one of the shows. I think about 4 weeks ago. I think that's when he came up. No, up to 4 weeks. Yeah, just about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So look at what he says there in a 32-page wall of words and grievances that summarizes as America first. It manages to reject European allies with a borderline racist swipe, concedes the United States must share power with China and search for new allies in the Western Hemisphere. So this is something that there was a plan that they said America, the report that came out that they said they are changing their strategy. That was 4th of December. I don't know what is going on, but this lends weight to that theory that something is happening here that we are not openly being told about from the powers. As a matter of fact, I actually also remember playing a video last week about what is going on in Gaza. That they are saying that Gaza is like an infrastructure, this thing, that's Israel is like an infrastructure, whereby the New World Order is going to use that as a way to trade. And I don't know, this accusation seems to be coming now and again. And if you look at the way things are going, it doesn't add up. You don't see the kind of resistance you would expect to see from a country like China losing an ally. Like traditionally, when a country's ally is under threat. You know, we just saw that with Syria before now, when Russia fought for Syria. They literally, Russian soldiers died in Syria fighting for Syrian government. That's what they used to be. Russian government used to come into the Soviet Union, into Cuba, and provided nuclear arms to them. So these are the kind of moves they used to make. I don't know where the Monroe Doctrine went then. All these people that talk about the Monroe Doctrine. The Soviet Union was able to bring nuclear weapons into the backyard of America. So, but now you see the attitude is different. I don't know. Maybe it's the dollar thing, like Shabaka said.
Okay, so forefathers, what I'm thinking, but there seems to be an echo.
Yes, go ahead. It's gone now.
Okay. I think we need to streamline the argument. My understanding, like I said, of that guy is that he's arguing that America is now willing to share power with other people, precisely Russia and China. My argument is that no, I don't see that happen. Okay? Because philosophically, the people that drive America's power ideology is that they have to be the dominant power. We've seen it in the Cold War. We've seen how they were fighting China by tooth and nail. My argument, bottom line, is that if today America is conceding grounds, that's how I see it. And of course, you have to also add the spice in terms of the Trump. He's a deals person. This is how the guy is. Okay, he wants to agree deals. He wants to do deals. Okay, deals essentially means there's what is called in negotiation, it's called ZOPA. Okay, zone of, well, to put it in simple language, there is always a place where both of you will agree. Okay, it simply means that you will compromise and reach an agreement where you are okay, I am okay. Okay, for instance, let's say one of these that they could agree is America will decide, okay, look, you can do whatever you want to do with Taiwan, but allow us to do whatever we want to do with these people. This is the kind of mentality for somebody like Trump. It doesn't mean that after Trump's era, this kind of deals are still going to reign supreme. No, I think America is consistently going to either look for how to become dominant power until the day it really realizes that, okay, we are done and dusted.
Wow.
This is my look.
I can't wait to see a day America concedes power. That would be a day to behold. I don't know what that will happen.
They are not gonna. No, this is okay. So the way some of these things happen is the same way we talk about failed states. When a state has failed, the state will still be standing. It's like when a tree dies. The tree, you will see it, it will still stand. When a tree dies, it doesn't fall down on the ground. It will still be standing. Just that when you look at it, you know that this tree has died. It's dry, no leaves, no matter how much water you put.
Okay.
That's what has happened to a place like, say, Britain. Okay. In their mind, they still are a superpower. But we know that at the end of the day, look, who are you now? Like, people are just condoning you to a large extent. So that's what I mean. The truth actually also is that America already has passed its prime, especially economically. Sincerely, look, if you know what you're talking about, if you look at till today, look at their policies, look at the rate cuts, look at everything they do. They can't allow that. It's like America is, technically speaking, an economy that has been on what do you call these things now, when you're sick, and then on life support, so to speak.
Hi, you are very unkind. Some of the things you are saying.
No, this is not
life support, death spasm. Jesus Christ.
Okay, why do you think you go and want to collect another country's oil? Why?
Maybe because, like you said, if they divide the world, then they will be like, I have more oil. You go give me rare earth metal now. You go, all this shakara China you are doing. Give me more rare earth metals, and I give you more access to oil. It could be a bargaining chip, kind of. But
One thing I like,
I tend to agree more with your
one
point of
thing I
view
like
that
about
America will
Trump,
not concede
the
power
one
that
thing
easy.
I like about Trump, he is one of the most honest leaders America has ever had.
That's for sure.
He is
That's
not
for
the
sure.
type, he doesn't go about deceiving people. He has said it severally. Like, look, this country, we were this, that, we were this, that. It's now that he's trying to, all this effort is to resuscitate the country. And if you're, like I said, if you see somebody jacking so hard, probably is the jacking of a dying person.
But you say resuscitate the country, but I think what Shabaka said, what did he call it? Corporatocracy. Maybe it's more like that than the country. It's like you said, let's say America is going down. These guys want to enrich themselves as much as possible while America is going down.
No. The basis. So look, yes, the corporations are there. The American corporations are there. Okay, but America as an economy, they are two separate things.
Okay.
As an economic system where you are running fine, you're running at top speed. But today, I mean, look at the dollar as a currency. Everybody knows that there are a lot of potential challenges, not even just from other countries. The fact is that this issue of cryptocurrency, there are just so many challenges, potential challenges for a dollar. Nobody can tell you that that currency will stand the test of time. It will not be as strong, as dominant as it used to be. That is fact. It's not me saying. The challenges are all over the place. Is it BRICS? Like you yourself, you said, Saudi Arabia, the primary starting point of the dollar hegemony, where we started these euro dollars, petrodollars. They are not that subservient anymore to America, for starters. So, but anyway, let me rest my case here. I've made my case. My position is very clear. I believe that America is not configured to want to share power. If they were to share power, the person they would have shared was with Russia during the olden days. But their understanding of power is either I'm on top or I'm under. And you don't want to be the one on under. You would rather be on top. That's the way I see it as the dominant American.
Yeah, I think I'm more sympathetic to your view. I'm not, and one of the biggest obstacles to that theory, because that guy mentioned the Russian. I keep forgetting the name. He mentioned the Russian strategies or something that believes in some kind of multipolar world. But the British people, which is the core of the Anglo-Saxon power, believes in the what they call it Mackinder thesis, and that Mackinder thesis says Russia has to be down. You can't allow Russia to reign supreme. And no matter what Trump wants to do, like you said, maybe the next person will come, change it again back to what the British wants.
And the last thing I just wanted to touch on, which is an aside, is I think I'm making attacking KJ a pastime. I have to find a way to stop it. I think it's a bad habit.
KJ is very, he's very, very welcoming of attacks. He's got a thick shell. Nothing gets to him. He will come back double against you, so don't bother. If you go after KJ, he will come back. He will come for you too.
I think KJ is leading a pack of people who I see when they talk, they miss a fundamental. I don't know the word to use, but this is how I see it. Okay, in as much as, yes, you can say that, oh, Trump is doing it in the interest of America. Okay, but there's always going to be a line as human beings, because the truth is that, yes, we can say America is a country, but we are citizens of a community. The world, when we choose, we'll say it's a global village. So when did the global village stop and America start? We need to also be conscious within our village. If somebody is doing something wrong, should we simply clap at him simply because he's doing it for his household, even when we know that these things he's doing is not correct? It's like, when I listen to people, it's like saying, oh, Hitler did what he was doing because his interest is Germany. Does it make it right? This is the question for me I ponder half of the time. We need to always be conscious of that line. even if you're doing it for your country, but there is a line that we should be mindful of, because in the end, the world is still a global community. And the fact that somebody from Nigeria is criticizing Trump, the excuse that Nigeria is a bad place, it's lame. Why can't I criticize Nigeria and criticize Trump, for instance? Why not? If the two of them are doing wrong things, I think there I would just simply rest my case.
Thank you.
Can you please give me 15 seconds?
Just okay.
I want
15
to
seconds. Yeah.
I don't know if KJ had become KJ. I didn't become KJ.
Yeah, I know. 50 seconds, so not more than 50 seconds. Don't worry, KJ will be able to respond.
If anybody is to respond, it's KJ. Why would
I know, because he said 50 seconds. That's why, and you better stick to 50 seconds.
I finished.
Okay.
Okay. So what I wanted to say clearly is that US wants to reign supreme primacy all over the world, but now it has changed the strategy under Donald Trump. We should not get it twisted that they're trying to allow China to take over Taiwan and all the other Asian countries. These are all speculations. They're actually false speculations. I'll give a concrete point real quick.
No concrete point. There's no concrete point. 15 seconds. All right, thank you. Yeah, KJ, right of reply, please. Try to keep it brief.
Okay, I'm going to give very brief. Listen, Masca, I'm a realist. I think I'm more of a realist than any other thing. I look at things from the realistic point of view. I'm from Nigeria, and for whatever reason, we've not been able to bring our government to be even as little as responsible as the governance of the United States. So I feel a bit guilty to begin to go about and shout on a man who is doing the best that he can. Remember, 80 million people voted for him, and 80 million people, like we say in NTA, cannot be wrong. Having said that, the world is moving in a different dimension. Whether we like it or not, there is some form of change in the air. Whether it's war or civil changes or technological changes or even academic changes, there is something in the air that is moving, and America is aware of that, and she is positioning herself for what is to come. Whether anybody agrees with that or not. And there's something that, you said, America is not going down, my brother. I want to say that emphatically, because you know why? Those who think ahead will always be ahead of the game. It doesn't matter whether you see that way or not, because they are thinking. Why we are where we are is because our leaders are not thinking. They're not proactive to what is happening in the world. They are only reactive, and sometimes a fire brigade knee-jerk approach, which has never helped us. We have seen this over the time. We saw it when we were young. Now we are getting old, and we're still seeing it. So it's not going to change. It doesn't bring any development. And I say that again. We are 230 million people, and the people who keep producing every time are leaders who don't even understand basic economics and basic strategies. It's not because they don't have people like that in Nigeria, but because they refuse to engage those people. And like I said the other time, I said here on this program, other people, when they go to your country, if they come to Nigeria to discuss bilateral businesses, they get people from that locality, their own people, who are the embassy staff, who are the students in that country, and bring them, who are the technocrats from their country, to read through with them, to understand the document before signing. We don't do that. We get there, we just bring those elderly people, some of them 90 years old, to come read those papers, and not even able to understand it, and then they go ahead to sign. And that is why we're not going to make any progress. Okay.
Thank you. Let me bring others in, because they have not spoken.
1 minute. 1 minute.
You are not going to get 1 minute again, no.
I beg you.
Yeah, KJ has a reply as always now. KJ always has a robust reply.
Are you done, KJ?
Yes, he's done. Okay, take
No,
if
no,
you want to summarize
you
in 30
refuse for me
seconds.
to finish now. You
You,
say
okay,
you
use 30 seconds. Use 30 seconds. KJ, use 30 seconds to summarize. Use 30 seconds to summarize so I can bring Vahala
No,
in and
I've lost the
Dexter.
train of thought I was going.
Shame.
Okay,
Not
so
next
do I
time.
have
Next
my
time.
1 minute?
No, you don't have 1 minute. You have been speaking all this while, mass guy.
1
See,
minute now.
look at the Kanembo.
Let me use my trump card. You know I'm calling from Nigeria.
Oh, look at top card. Oh my God. I can't believe you just did that.
Let
Okay.
me have the 1 minute.
30 seconds. 1 minute. Okay, fine. 1 minute. Take your 1 minute. Okay, go ahead.
So it's just a pushback to KJ. I want you to understand, KJ, they are still going back to that pothole of looking at things from a Nigerian perspective. What is right and wrong cannot and should not be determined by what happens to Nigeria or what Nigeria intends to do or what Nigeria is doing. Let's always have that at the back of my mind. What is right or wrong has nothing to do with Nigeria.
So I ask you, what's the purpose of politics then? What's the purpose of leadership? What is the purpose of leadership to better you or to better my own?
KJ, now, you, KJ, are you a politician?
No, but I'm asking, what's the purpose of leadership?
No,
am I in the politics? Am I in government? If I'm in government, I'm taking an oath.
So the point I'm making, KJ, we cannot be excusing politicians when they are doing something we know and can see clearly is wrong just because they are politicians.
So when Nigeria went to Benin Republic, when you guys went to Benin Republic, was it right?
The photo you have entered and you don't want to come out because Nigeria does it. Doesn't
No.
Right?
So what I'm simply saying is that then we don't have the moral ground to criticize.
They don't want to agree. This is a simple point to agree on.
It's not
Please.
even Nigeria that went
Can we leave it? Can we leave it? Okay, let's leave that line of argument.
Tinubu did not ask me whether he wants to go to Benin Republic. I say go. I will not take responsibility for that illegal action. Okay, so this is the point I'm making. We need to be very clear on that. We should criticize Tinubu and criticize Trump when they are doing the wrong things. But
yeah, I think you have a point there. Because
lastly, KJ, if America falls, it's not because they are competing with Nigeria, and it's not because they are thinking ahead. It's because they have started thinking ahead late in the day. Other people have gone far in the game. Full stop. Thank you.
You know, this one that you are using your Nigeria card. If I find out that you are using Starlink, that Nigeria card goes away because that Starlink is international.
But thank you everybody for the time.
Thank you. I think I agree with your point on that. Listen, morality shouldn't necessarily be only for one side. If you believe that somebody has done something wrong somewhere else, you criticize them just as you criticize, locally too. Because for example, the example you gave was if a man is caring for their family but is doing something wrong to do that, do you say that it's right? Let's say he's robbing a bank or even committing murder to do that. You don't say that man is doing the right thing just because he's caring for his family. See what I mean? So I think it's obvious the point you're making. I'm not sure. I think KJ felt like you are criticizing him for not criticizing Trump. That's why, when it comes to Trump, KJ is very defensive. It's all right. Kanembo, thank you for joining us. I think it's unfair to you, but we need to keep it brief because we are due to finish in about 30 minutes because we have to do 3 hours. This is the new year. They say we have to be strict about it. It's a very, very strict 3 hours schedule. I might do another session again. I might do another session, but depends on how things end, really. Let's put it that way. A shorter session this is. But thank you for joining us, Kanembo. I really appreciate the time you are putting in discussing these issues because you are like a warrior out there now. And people don't often give people credit for coming online to do all these things, especially from Nigeria. It's not easy. So I salute you for doing that. It's not easy. When I was in Nigeria, I didn't come online once. I can tell you that. I came online.
Why are you praising him? The man is from the ruling class of the ruling empire.
You see that?
Why are you praising him?
You see how people...
You can't even let us acknowledge him. If I was praising Trump now, you'd be fine about it. A kind of empire grandson. You are praising him. These are the bourgeois in Borno State. What are you saying?
If I was praising Trump now, you're not going to have issues with it.
No, I won't, but they're praising him now.
So thank you for joining us. And because he's putting in the work, he really goes out there. He's not only here; he goes around trying to exchange ideas, and that's a warrior spirit there that is doing what he can to sensitize these people and understand the issues, learn and teach. So I really appreciate you for coming in. So, but what do you make of this? Your time is limited because we do have limited time. So try to keep it as what they call it, precise as possible.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to my rambles. I just want to say that from the way I see it, first, let's establish something. When we come on these platforms and talk about these things, we shouldn't pretend as if we have some crystal ball that we can see the future. Nobody should pretend. The absolutism in which KJ and OVA and you yourself, you give space. I would give that to you, forefather. You give space that at least you may not know. At least that's the way people who are humble are supposed to think about these things. But just to assume that you know it all, that is also too much now. Nobody has a crystal ball about the future. While I may agree theoretically in the way and the direction in which Trump is trying to go, I can see what is pushing him. Yeah. Already the dollar is overextended. Their economy is in an AI bubble. It is those those corporatist techno bros that surround him, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all this, the way the American guy was saying. So all the ideas that are being fed into his head, Trump is, they say there is a method to the madness. Yes, I can see the method to the madness, but I don't think that things are thought through so well. Because you have to agree that the way and the manner in which the physical reality works, even in physics, this is that they call the butterfly effect. You may set this, you may start something. You never know how things can end. Some things may jeopardize some things. While let me just not speak too much, but then the fundamental thing and people need to understand about the way America conducts its foreign policy is that there is no morality in it. And the problem with America is that it is too capitalistic in the sense that, but before they used to pretend that we're doing it for human rights, we're doing it for democracy. Trump just removed the mask. That is why Trump's own seems kind of, and now because he's touching Europe and now before they see things, they keep quiet, but because he talks about Greenland now, they want to start to feign like they care. So they don't care until it touches them. They are the same people. Also this race, these Teutonic, Anglo-Saxons, the ones you guys are referring to, I think among all of the human race, right now in the era we are, they have found themselves at the top of the pyramid, and because what has led them there is this brutal, application of power. Like they don't have pity for themselves. If they do, they will not be taxing their economies with usury, with overworking. Just look at how stressed people are in their economies with debt and things like that. There is no morality in that at all. You compare a Chinese citizen and American, there's a difference. And the way I think one fundamental problem with looking at, because we also have this problem too in Nigeria, I think, is a misunderstanding between the West and the East and their philosophies about life. You see, the West is always ga, 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 ga. The East will keep quiet, look at you. Sometimes it's just symbolic interaction. And if you misunderstand them, you think as if they are being timid or they don't have courage. Meanwhile, when they finally, come out, and you see it in the manner in which, like, America fights its wars. America is always doing, technological and alliance-based dominance, while Russia, on the other hand, their own destabilization. And because, see, they don't get money now, no be like USSR of before. So they will try to do something where will give them some regional leverage. So they need to enter war like that, like they do before, because of obviously the economy is not as the same. But China is also different, because the way China philosophically look at war is a Sun Tzu kind of application, because it's always a systematic, displacement. but it is also integrated. So if China starts to fight you, there is no limit. So every theater is a war. Unlike America, now you can see a contradiction in which the posture they are giving and what. But when China starts to fight, there is no theater that will not be war. So that method actually puts some constraints before declaring warfare. But because America is fundamentally flawed morally, that is why you see this kind of dissonance in its application of morality, because they think they are some kind of superior human beings. Meanwhile, if you look at them and you just see that the only thing that they succeed at is this brutality of and fast the ability to just use wealth and dominate. Wealth. It's always about money. So a lot of us Nigerians have fallen into this trap and cannot see any other thing, and think that if they do their math, because they are also after money, they think everything will just fall back into money. Well, newsflash, the world is not all about money. If it's all about money, then all these theories will check out. But because it's not about money, it's like a zero sum, because you may push somebody, he will just press his nuclear buttons, and then there will be no winner. So while I agree that yes, the sphere of influence thing may be true, and whether there is also some, because right now Vladimir Putin has not been seen since yesterday or 2 days before. They say every time he goes underground and comes out, something new happens. So we don't know. Maybe they're doing their Pax Judaica. Maybe they're doing different things. Who knows? But at least let's keep our minds open for the possibility.
Or maybe it's not well. Who knows?
What?
Let's hope it's well, because this silence is a bit weird. But then again, the leader of China has been quite quiet too. So we don't necessarily know what is going on. And I must say your submission is quite, very, very. I've not heard anyone say it from your angle, from the way you describe it. So it's quite good. Some of the submissions that we have received today have been quite top notch, I have to say. I don't know. Dexter, are you next or AY is next? AY is very, it's very, very unforgiving these days.
No, it's Dexter. It's Dexter. I don't like Ojoro like you.
Exactly. Even that one you swiped at me. All right, Dexter, thank you for joining us. I don't know what you make of all these chain of events, the silence from the other powers in the world. I'm beginning to think there is a kind of style of going for the dollarization move that the BRICS nations are making, because that one to them is actually strategic. As long as you don't touch them, they are able to de-dollarize their trade with other nations and give other nations the alternative. Maybe America is just trashing around, and while they are actually winning the actual war silently. So what do you make of that? Because America is losing ground in terms of dollar usage. I think it's coming down every year.
Thank you, forefathers and everybody that's contributed intelligently upon their opinions. And say well done. Thank you for everybody in the comment section and everybody that's joined. Forefathers, my opinion on this. I always maintain, first of all, I think we Africans, especially of us that have gone to school, that claim to be learned, there's no show of knowledge in talking about people. That's the truth. It's not a show of knowledge to talk about what people do and whether people sleep, how they sneeze, how they jump up. It's not a show of knowledge. So the show of knowledge when we talk about ideas of what we can do. Continue from the last speaker. People are talking of China, that when China fights, so what's the history? Where is the record in your living life in the last 100 years? Where is your record of China fighting a war? What's the record? Last I checked,
are you actually asking me what's the record of China?
Wait, now I'm just talking. Japan in
you said in the last 100 years.
Yes, in the last 100 years. What is the record? Let's talk about our living life. Where's the rest? Just talk about our
that
living
one. Nobody will come here now.
No. I'm just saying when we say things authoritatively, they'll do it like this. I'm just talking about when we are talking about people, it's not really, for me personally, it's not really, doesn't really move me, because we're just talking about people and then we are pontificating as if we know it. The truth about it is you can't be sure of what will happen. Look, before the dollar became the mainstay currency, if you listen to the documentary of how America bankrupts the UK, and the UK just stopped paying its debt to America in 2006 for the Second World War. America literally before were not even interested in the world. They were not interested in. One of the advantages of America you see today is one. This is geography. America doesn't actually need the world. It can stay on its own. They can literally stay on their own and survive. If we don't realize that before the Second World War, American citizens didn't really care. They begged them to join the Second World War. They begged them, please come and join. And it was Japan that pushed their hand inside when Japan, Pearl Harbor incident. So if we look at it like that, we will realize that, everybody does things for their interest. Okay? They got into the game. UK was owing them. UK literally handed. UK was the one somebody here said that UK at its peak, America is not controlling what UK controlled at its peak. UK literally was bankrupt to the point that I said, America, come and take over all the places we cannot hold on to anymore. Come and take over those places. So if you look at that history, you find that everybody does things for their interest, to give themselves a leverage. In Africa, in West Africa, we want Nigeria to give itself a leverage. Don't you? All of us here, don't we want Nigeria to give itself a leverage? Why are we deceiving ourselves? How do we come here and start deceiving ourselves, talking about, don't we want Nigeria to be the mainstay country in Africa? Or which of you here don't want Nigeria to be the mainstay? Nigeria wanted to divide. Biafra wanted to move. People say, no, we must be together. Let us stay together. So that we'll be big.
How many times we talk about that one?
My point is this. You ain't going to take us anywhere. Come to America, that, America, this. You ain't going to take us anywhere. If we want to go for fathers, you want Nigeria to be a world power. You're talking about ICBM. It's ideas that rule the world, man. Elon Musk shooting rockets into the sky, shooting rockets into space, setting up satellites. What are we doing, man? What are you and I doing? This brain, the same brain. That's why I went to uni. He's a power systems engineer. His brain is the same one. What are we doing? Oh, come on, we're talking of the conspiracy theory, Maduro this, Maduro that. Who cares? What I care about, how can we take ourselves to the next level? Rid ourselves of corruption so that our children don't come and be talking about the same thing. I'm serious about it. Why is the black man talking about, why? What is wrong with us? Well, you should come and pontificate. No, let me ask a question. What interests me in the whole Maduro thing? How did these guys, with all the systems that Venezuela had in their country, to neutralize the man we posted was the most protected guy. When these guys penetrated, 3 minutes. Think about it. 3 minutes. 3 minutes to pick up a president. Interrogate yourself. What are you thinking? What are we thinking? Are we thinking semantics?
Okay, I know us with policy makers.
Yes, or are we thinking about the intellect, the technicality, the specifics? These guys were able to. Don't you sit down and think how these guys calculated? The calculation. This was everything calculated to the point whereby they could not fail. It became muscle. You know what they say, that when somebody practiced that, it became muscle memory. That is, do you know what it means? It means that if they put them on autopilot and put them blindfold them, they will do it correctly. That's the level of detail that these guys went to. So
So let me tell you something. So I give you a typical example. One thing I noticed when I came to the Western world is, so when they teach us, when we're growing up in Nigeria as kids.
We need to come back. We need to come back. Let's fight together. Let's create the
Oh,
together.
please, can you give us a particular time for everyone to talk?
Everybody is talking on top of me. I don't talk on top of people, forefathers.
Please, let him talk now. Let him talk now.
Because
talking. Forefathers,
please, forefather, protect the guy now.
3 minutes. Let him have 3 minutes. Let him have 3 minutes remaining.
I don't talk on top of people. See, when we in Nigeria, when we're teaching us, I still remember in school. Oh, they taught us how to round up numbers. You know, when you round up numbers, maybe you get a number. So if I ask anybody here, can you tell me the actual value of pi? I'm sure you tell me it's 3.14. It's actually not 3.14. It's 3.1423, and it keeps on going. The idea, what I'm trying to tell you is that the attention to detail, we don't have it in Africa. Because when they were teaching many of us, they taught us to round the numbers. I just round to 2 digits. But what you don't realize is that when you have a value of 3.14723, actually, those other numbers that you have just rounded up make a meaning over a large scale. And that has somehow affected us, that we threw away a lot of detail. That's why you can example, look at the tax law we passed. The government just believed that they could falsify, they could just put in some things, because who is in Nigerians now? Nigerians will not really pay attention to the detail. Even KPMG came out now and said, we don't even understand the tax law. I tell you, they say, what don't you understand? But my point is this. We have to start interrogating ourselves. Okay? It's good to look at what people are doing. But when somebody passes you, example, Ronaldo passed you. Don't be told they talk, say, Ronaldo should have shot like this. Guy, go and enter gym, go and practice. Because Ronaldo gets to the training ground by 6 a.m. when training is supposed to start by 9. He gets there by 6 a.m. and trains for 3 hours before the normal training. We Africans, we Nigerians, we need to go back and sit down, put our damn ass on the chair and read, get some things in our brain so that we can compete. We need to compete. We don't need to go and buy ICBM. We need to compete to the point where we can build it and tell Ghana, we can give you a rocket. That's what we need. And not to talk, these people did that, these people did that. Leave those guys. Leave them. Yeah, look, they have done well for themselves. Or they will soon fall down. Or they will soon do this. Who cares? Where are you going to be? When they fall down, maybe they'll come crashing on top of your head. That's what we want. I'm just saying this. The African race, we should, especially the one with melanated skin, time has come for us to stand our ground and prove that this thing between our 2 ears can compete, which we know it can compete with everybody in the world. And we must bring productivity to our country. We want Nigeria to look at Nigeria one match. Everybody's celebrating, but look at the crux of that team. All of them play abroad. Is it not a shame? All of them. What does that tell you? There's no value addition in Nigeria. That they looked at the team and say, we cannot select anybody from Nigeria because there's no value addition. You have to take people from abroad. It didn't used to be like that when Nigeria first won the Nations Cup. You had many players that were playing Nigerian league. So these things are what should look. I think that in rounding up, these are the things that should bother you and I of our generation. It's not about whether Trump up, Trump down. Nations will come, nations will go. That's the reality of life. But the question is, where will you be?
Thank you, Dexter. Now, I think we go to AY. AY, thank you for joining us. And so I guess you listened to everybody, their submissions. So what do you make of it? You can come at it from any direction you want, because there are quite a lot. I'm sure you have your own thoughts on this.
Yeah, you put out a lot of topics out there, to be honest. I'm actually surprised you are seeing on number 1. You're going to be a very good student.
I think this one deserves, because I'm learning new things from different submissions. I learned a lot. But what we are going to do is I'm going to start another live after 3
Okay.
hours so that we can carry on. Please go ahead.
Yeah, honestly, I watched mostly the Rudolph show. I was just enjoying Jide display today, man. He was just hitting people with facts. I was
Thank
just
you.
enjoying it. You know, especially with Mr. Hike and my friend KJ. Jide do not shake it today. I actually love those facts, right? Well, you see, on this platform, people will always divide. Some are for, they are against. So it's normal, you see. The only thing that worry me sometimes is the double standard. How we think it's actually okay for a president to invade a sovereign country, kill over 100 people, take the president away. They will kind of like celebrate it. Yeah, it's okay. You know, it's so funny. People actually died. People's father, people's mother, people's family, they actually died. It's true. So you need to watch that. So let's not forget. But however, for me, I'm completely against that. There is no reason, fictitious reason especially, for anybody to invade a sovereign country. It doesn't really make sense to me, right? Sorry, this guy is disturbing.
Okay, okay. For the don't just make one comment, quick comment before I leave. I want to leave. So, since you are speaking about that, also speak about was it right when your country went into Benin Republic uninvited to go and whatever they went to do? I have not been able to tackle the insurgency going on in the north. That question is left to you. And on this, forefather, I will join the next broker. Thanks.
Okay. So again, this is the problem, right? So they were invited. The Benin Republic president, government invited Nigeria to the country. That's different matter. That was exactly what happened. You pretend that you don't know what happened in Benin Republic. There was a coup. The president invited the neighboring country, please come and help. We are in trouble. We are being attacked. I don't see it. That one is very simple. Even primary school students know that's really simple. But people that want to defend it is just a madness. I don't see how you want to defend it. One thing I've learned about Trump, why I said Trump is evil, sometimes I begin to think he's better than people that are defending his madness. The reason is this. Trump is telling you, this is why I'm going there. I'm going there. We're going to get a lot of oil. It's not hiding it. But people that are defending him will keep defending. No, what is oil? America have oil more than blah. Trump is going to Congo to stop the crisis. He's telling you, we are going to benefit a lot. We're going to get natural resources. People are defending. No, it's not going there to take anything. Systematically, it's also going to Nigeria. The other thing, when some of us were canvassing that the killing going on in Nigeria, there is nothing like Christian genocide. There is genocide against Nigeria. People say it's not true. Now, Trump himself has also admitted that there is killing against Muslims as well, which is a fact. It's out there. So don't forget, these people, they have intelligence. It's America, United States. They have intelligence. They know what is going on everywhere. So Trump is stating that fact right there. So those are the Christian genocide in Nigeria. There is genocide against Nigerians. So if you actually love Nigeria, you should look for a way to hold the government accountable to stop the killings of Nigerians, irrespective, Christian, Muslim, pagan, whatever they believe in. It doesn't matter. This is life. This is what is important. So I just want to put that out there as well. But I think the way we are going, people that think like we are in a playground, I don't know what to tell you. I think we will see a lot coming from Donald Trump. A lot is going to come. Like now, there is a lot of threat against Mexico, Cuba, Colombia, Iran. There is threat going on. So my fear is we don't degenerate into a serious war, even if you don't want to call it Third World War. I think we might be headed there. You see, one other thing I want to really point out is, most time you hear me, even when it was not fashionable, I defer forefather a lot when he's making some statement. It's not because forefather is my brother, is my friend. The reason is that it's what it stands for. I know we cannot anticipate what is coming. Sometimes he's going to say something. I'm like, why are people not see what forefather is saying? The issue of security, for example, that's where we are. So no matter how Trump is going to go crazy. Now, he's not going to go play with North Korea. He's not going to do that. He's not going to go to Pakistan, start Bobby. It's not going. There are places, because these people, they have nuclear deterrent. So you're not going to play with that region because you don't want big trouble in the world. So you're going to have some resistance. But when your country, you don't have anything, you cannot even stop a fly. He's going to go there freely, bomb the hell out of you and leave. So I think, like South Africa was reading, I'm not sure how true is it, that they are actually anticipating, they are preparing to convert their nuclear power plant into nuclear weapon. So if they can do that to also protect themselves, that's good. So we in Nigeria and other Africa, we are nowhere. We don't have option. We have to just play along for now. But that is just what everybody needs. So if Iran have nuclear weapon tomorrow, all this threat against them will stop. So it's just simple. But hopefully we're gonna get there and learn. But unfortunately, we're in a dangerous time. Nobody knows where this is gonna end. Nobody knows what is next, the country that is next. So we just gotta watch and be careful. And one other last thing, don't forget, Sha, like I was having a discussion with somebody this morning, that don't forget that even Hitler, you hear, Adolf Hitler, he had a lot of supporters too. People think Adolf Hitler was just a bad guy. No, he had a lot of supporters. He had people that were praising him, people that were, that was how he started. So don't be surprised if anything like that happens again. Trust me, don't be surprised. With the violence going on now, even in America, like yesterday, they killed a lady in Minneapolis. It's not even a black lady. So he was shot for no reason, really. So she died. The president was defending, vice president was defending. All the people you think will come out and say the right things, they were defending foolishly. So it's sad. A lot is going on, but we are watching. We're just going to keep watching. There is nothing we can do for now. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And so I think everybody has spoken now. So
Fathers, can I really talk about something within like 2 minutes?
Please, I want to
we'll have
log
to
off.
carry
I'm
on.
not
Let's give some people some special attention. Shabaka, Jefferson, and Okpara will speak before we close this thing.
Yeah, please.
I think Ike is not there. Ike has not spoken.
Jide is enough. Jide is enough, please.
Jide, you've spoken enough.
Please, Jide.
I haven't spoken enough.
We have next session. You can carry on with the next session.
It's enough, Jide, please.
The time is quite constrained.
I'm not even going to take a lot of time. What I want to say, like
myself too. I want to log off.
No, it's not going to. It's not going to take. See, let's try to be a bit more organized on it because the time is constrained.
It's fine.
You're gonna be on the next one. I will go through Shabaka, Jefferson. Jefferson, unfortunately, he came late, so he's gonna be brief too. And Okpara will speak. It's not my. Let me leave Okpara. He doesn't like me, but it's okay. I will let him speak nonetheless. I'll let him speak nonetheless. Shabaka, so what do you make of from what you've heard so far? Because I take your point, and I think that point has some merit to it. But there's also this CNN report that I highlighted that talked about this change. This structuring. So based on everything you've had, where do you stand so far? Is there something else you want to add that you may not have added before?
No, I think the truth always lies somewhere in the middle. Like the previous panelists have said, we don't have a crystal ball. We're just creating theories based upon our logic and the information that we have available. So I like to hear everybody's opinions because there's validity in what everyone says. I don't value my opinion more than anyone else's, and I enjoyed hearing everyone's opinion.
That's quite good, and I really appreciate that. And I especially enjoyed the take of Kanem Bu. You know, why do you keep changing your name, Valhalla? Kanem Bu, Kanem Bu. You know, so I enjoy your take on it, the way you summarized. I would like to hear more about that later on. And Jefferson, are you there? Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm very
welcome.
much around.
So, unfortunately, your time is constrained. You're going to have to submit for 2 minutes.
Sorry,
Then Okpara goes 2 minutes. Counting.
No, you have no problem. I'm going to maximize the 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Basically, I have a mixed feeling about the kidnapping of Venezuelan president. I smell a rat on that one because it doesn't really add up. Even the way it was captured and the way it was doing sign language and everything, it doesn't add up. But I'm not really going to put more emphasis on that. It is what it is. So basically, I want to address some things that KJ was saying. Is it KJ, right? Or sorry, AY was saying. Well, like saying people are supporting people blindly. Yes, in Nigeria too, we have a lot of people that are supporting our leaders blindly. When they destroy other people's buildings, when they kill other people, we have people, Nigerians, supporting evil. So it is relative. Now, does it mean we should have fanatics supporting evil? No. Everybody is guilty on this one. No one is going to be exempted. You can't sit down here and say, they have blind supporters supporting what they don't understand. What do we really understand? Have you been following what's happening in Iran? For most of us that I don't know, Iran don't used to be a Muslim country before. But well, I don't want to go into the details. And the people want to have their country back. The people want to have their country back. And of course, there is a lot of fear, you know, and there are so many uprisings as well. Even though I don't want to turn this into a religious roller coaster, but this is what happens when a set of extremists want to impose people's views on other people. If anything you want, anybody want to stand on anything, you should let the people be convicted to follow and worship whatever they want to do, but not to be coerced. Yeah, but like I said, I didn't want to stress on that issue. The political space, of course, in Nigeria, we all know what is going on. We are not sincere to ourselves. We don't want to address the issue the way it is. The guy that spoke about the Nigeria football, upon all the Osimhen and Lookman drama, they were successful today. Well, it's sad that we don't have home-based players because of circumstances. It can be better, you know, and this is what happens when, of course, how can this be sustained when we don't even believe in ourselves? So I think we need to address some issues internally, and so that we can actually progress and look forward. If not, if we keep on continuing being hypocritical about the issues at hand, we're not going to go nowhere, and that's facts. I rest my case.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you for keeping it brief. Okpara, let me bring you on.
Yeah.
Thank you. So what do you want to say? I know you wanted to say something for a while now.
Yeah. I will be very brief. I just want to say that whenever I pray, I do pray that America will not go down, because what America is doing to the world or for the world is extraordinary. No matter how you say it, you might say it, or my own opinion, because most of us here is like America is going to fall down, going to destroy itself. The dollar is going to disappear one day. I don't pray so, because America has done good for the world than bad for the world. That's the way I look at it. And when I look at most of us here, we are Nigerians. What Nigeria has done to humanity is not what somebody should wish his enemies. Nigeria has destroyed a lot of lives. Recently, you will see Nigerians going to Rwanda for Rwanda genocide conference or Remembrance Day. But Nigeria forgot the genocidal war it fight against its own citizens, where as we speak, 3.4 or 5 million Nigerians were murdered by Nigerians, and there is no single cenotaph, no single remembrance of those people that were murdered in Nigeria by Nigerians. And we're here talking about hypocrisy. Nigerians are the most hypocritical folks in the whole world, whereby we leave our own problem and we discuss another problem. We are talking about Trump bombing Nigeria. If the Nigerian government had done its own job, Trump wouldn't have bombed Nigeria. Trump is not bombing Ghana. Trump is not bombing Africa Coast. Trump is not bombing anywhere. But why did Trump send that bomb to Sokoto? Because of what the killings that is going on in Nigeria, and nobody is talking anything. The government is not talking. The government is not taking any responsibility. That is why Trump struck. He didn't strike because of anything, because he wanted to waste that bomb, no. Or because of oil, no. Because Nigeria government didn't take its own responsibility. That is why Trump struck. And let me tell you guys, as long as we continue this way, we continue praying for a place that give us, give us security. You live in America where you are secured more than in your own country, and you pray the downfall of that country. It's a shame. Good night from here.
Yeah. There's this thing that goes around. People, like, they will say you are in the country that you are criticizing. It's a very, very, I find that strange, because it seems like we don't like our people to criticize the people we are enjoying their resources, while the people that are enjoying our resources are doing so many malevolent things to us too. But you are fine with that. Why are you fine with that? You shouldn't be fine with that either way. So it's really strange. You are saying those people doing malevolent stuff to us are okay enjoying it while they are doing it, but we are not allowed to do the same while we are enjoying stuff from them, and we are enjoying far less from them than they are enjoying from us. It's a really strange phenomenon, and I really think that needs to be addressed. But he did raise some interesting point that may be worth discussing, whether the American empire has been good for the world. There are arguments to be made. You'll be surprised what may come out of such a discussion. Maybe something we can discuss later. That said, let me bring in. I think
Can
Ike hasn't spoken at all.
Can I make that point? Can I make that point I was going to make? Okay, let's Ike talk.
Yeah, he hasn't spoken at all. Ike, you've been in and out, so I didn't catch you. So I will let you take your time to speak. I'll give you 5 minutes because you haven't spoken at all. And you came early. It's just that we haven't caught you while you were there. So I'll give you your 5 minutes to speak. Then we close out and start a new stream.
Sorry, forefather. What are we talking about? Because, like as you said, I've been off and on, right?
Yes. What we are discussing is Maduro's kidnapping, and whether it's a strategy where the three world powers have divided the world, and Trump can do whatever he likes, capture Maduro, take Russian tankers, and is it true that they divided the world into three places, or do you just think that America is doing the right thing? Because remember, I want to say this before you speak. America decided that they're going to ignore the pro-democracy group in Venezuela. They don't care about them anymore. They don't care about that. All they care about that is oil. And even the oil, from what I'm gathering now, the money is not even going to go straight to America. It's going to go to offshore accounts. So I don't know what you make of this, the entire, what I've just submitted to you. But you know what has happened in Venezuela recently and what America has done. So yeah. I will leave it to you to take it from there.
Yeah, I know my brother Jide loved this conversation too much. Today he has been here. He has not gone even to use the bathroom today. He loved this conversation. he loved this conversation. Well, Venezuela, they are my neighbors. You know, they are my next door neighbor here, right? So, really, talking about this issue of Venezuela, like somebody was saying, I mean, the country has been suffering for a very long time, and the man who has been in power has been a man that the people of Venezuela has always wanted to get rid of, you know? And I think that this thing wouldn't have happened if Maduro was magnanimous enough and to concede the election, the last election that was conducted in Venezuela, because he lost. And that if he has accepted that defeat and walk away, I don't think we are not going to be where we are today, to be honest with you, because like I said, I'm close door neighbor to Venezuela because he lost the election. And the same thing that they did in Nigeria, where the Supreme Court and the INEC and the Kabas decided to put the man in Asorok for us as the president of the country, a man who has only 30% support of the population of Nigeria of about 250 million votes, which each and every one of us, if you are honest to yourself, he never won an election. He did not win any election. He was selected by Supreme Court and INEC. So if Maduro has accepted the result of the election, what Trump did wouldn't have taken place, because every one of us here need freedom, irrespective of the problem America has with Venezuela, whether it's during the time of Chavez, or is it about the oil, or is it about anything. If Maduro has a conscience, and if you think that it was because of the oil that America was doing what they want to do, why didn't he accept the result of the election and walk away? Because if he have gone away, probably if America want to take the oil, they wouldn't take the oil the way they're going to take it right now, because he has forced them to take that oil by force. If he had allowed the woman who won election, Macedo, if he had allowed the woman to take over the country, probably America would want to take oil, but he would have done it in a way that he wouldn't have brought any conflict. But Maduro himself brought whatever came to him upon himself, because he himself is always telling us that America is after the oil. But you have the opportunity to prevent America from taking the oil by respecting the rules, by respecting the decisions of the people of Venezuela who have spoken through their vote. But you did it.
Yeah, but Ike, though, Ike, the reason why I wanted to ask you this question again is, but Trump is not respecting the vote of Venezuelans now. He has decided that that was so 2 weeks ago. He doesn't care about the opposition. Now the vice president of Maduro is the one running the show.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
do you think of that?
That was the first statement he made. I think the woman is going to go to Washington by next week. Listen, in as much as personally, when we talk about it, the local politics where I live in the island, I am one of the people who oppose the decision that Trump has to work with the vice president. Because what I expected the America to do was to bring back the woman who won the election. Because that's the solution. Because she won the election. So, but by the idea that he decided now that he's going to work with the vice president, I don't know what brought about that decision. But I'm waiting for when the woman goes to Washington next week. Let me hear what will come out of the meeting. But I'm always ready to disagree in the local politics here when we are talking about what is going on in our next door neighbor. People that are very close to me, I told them that what I don't agree with America was saying that he cannot, that the woman is not too strong to take over. I don't buy that. I would have expected that the American government should have brought that woman back from exile and let the people in Venezuela swear him in to be, even if it is an interim government, even if it is, stay there for 6 months, 1 year, organize a free and fair another election, something like that. But now he decided that he's going to work with the vice president. For me personally, I don't like that decision, but I don't have the power to change that decision. Okay? But my joy that what happened in Venezuela is Maduro is gone. I don't care the way he goes. Remember the other day you hosted this in 2 weeks ago. I told you that if I'm in a position that every day I cut off one of his finger and use it to make tea for him, because that is what he's doing in Venezuela. All those families that have destroyed their generation, they don't have any other thing they have to do, because he had killed a lot of people in Venezuela, all in the name of trying to protect oil. So it's not like nobody will want anybody to die. I don't wish anybody to die, but that's the fact. He killed a lot of people because he wanted to remain in power. How can you say, just like what happened in Venezuela? A population of millions of people, you think you are the only person who is capable to rule the country. I mean, it's crazy, right? So I think that personally, to me, I don't like that America decided now that they're not going to work with the woman who won the election. But personally, as Mr. Ike, I don't have power to stop America not to do what they want to do. But do I support the removing of Maduro? 1,000%, he need to go, because he is part of the problem that those countries in that place is having. For example, America is having problem with Colombia.
But do you think that could it be that because Trump said she's not popular? Could it be that they always knew that she didn't have the grassroots support of the country? Because he said some people don't like her in that country. In other words, he was basically saying she's not popular enough, especially within the military and within some groups in the country, like the poorer people. So could it be that this election that we are saying she won, she didn't actually win? We just assume she won.
Yeah, America has security information or military information I don't have. Probably there must be a fact to it. Probably in the circle of the military hierarchy. Probably the woman is not popular. It can be very possible. But what of the civil society? What of the citizens of the country who voted for the woman? It wasn't the military that voted for her. So if you consider the other side, also consider the people, the population that gave her the vote in the first place, right? So I don't think that
nobody has come to demonstrate for her. Like, this is your turn, like the way they did for Abiola. Nobody's coming out for her.
Let me ask Mr. Ike a quick question.
Okay.
Mr. Ike, so let's assume Maduro rigged the election. Does that give Donald Trump the right to go take the oil of Venezuela belongs to them? The second question is, you also refer to Nigeria. Who won Nigeria election? Please tell us if you have the result.
My brother, just don't be disingenuous. I don't want to go to that conversation.
No, just answer my question. People are listening.
Let's not bring the Nigeria one.
Okay, let's not be disingenuous with the story of Nigeria. Let's just talk about.
Okay, answer the Maduro question.
The Maduro question. Listen, there is no country who are working or living or ruling their country in the normal process that anybody will want anybody to come and take over their country. No country. I don't support any country taking over any country. Right? So, but if you are fighting for that natural resources that we ain't saying America wants to take, the big question I want to give you back, the population of Venezuela people, how many people are benefiting from that natural resources we are talking about? Because the people that are benefiting from the natural resources is Russia, is China, is North Korea. So it's not even the citizens of Venezuela people that are benefiting from the natural resources. That's my problem. That's my anger. Because if the citizens are benefiting from what God has given them, I don't think anybody will support what America is doing. But the people are suffering. They have the largest reserve in the world. And what is the citizen? What is the population of Venezuela as of 2 months ago? The population of Venezuela people that are outside the country is about 8 million. Then how many people is remaining in Venezuela? That's the question you have to ask yourself. I live in a very small island here. But if I tell you the population of Venezuela people living in this island, you wouldn't believe it. Because if the population that is here live in your village will explode. But that's the reality. That's the fact. So I am not saying that America should go and take what belongs to people. No. But there are circumstances, there are situations. You have to pay a price because you failed to take care of your people. That's my point. I'm not saying that, America should pay people to take what belongs to them. No.
I hear what you are saying. I think we're going to carry on with this debate.
Can I talk about something? First of all, there's actually false information.
Not now, Jide. Sorry, Jide. Not now. We have to close out. We have to close out. I know it's not because I don't want you to talk. We are going to do it in the next one. We're going to do it in the next one. We're going to thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Governor,
And
change this
let me
topic the
thank.
next one, please. You need to change the topic.
Yeah, I will
the
change
next
it. I will
one.
change it. I will
Yeah.
try to.
But can I just contribute
Because
to this? Because
when we come in,
information.
Jide, don't worry, you are going to share it. When we come in at
Okay.
first, we'll take about 5-10 minutes to just wrap this one up, then carry on with the next topic. Let me thank all the people that came in today. Today, I think I've learned quite a few things, and everybody seems to have some sharp opinions that deserves, this in thinking about, whether America has been good for the world. A lot of people are alive today thanks to the advances that are occurred under their, rule or whatever control of the world or their systems. And there are quite a lot of things you can argue that is positive for the world, but it's a very, very interesting. It's not black and white, is it? It's not exactly black and white. All right. I thank you for joining us. Shabaka, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you joining us today. Always feel free to join us. I'll join us in the next one too. Jefferson, Ike, as always, thank you for coming. AY, appreciate your submissions. Jide, as always, the guy that seems to take his time to study geopolitics. And Kanembo, I really appreciate your submission today. Very, very good submission. We had some quality submissions today, I have to say. People were more organized. I don't know why. People were a little bit more organized today. I really appreciate you all for coming in. And till next time, which is 5 minutes from now or so, I'm going to play. I really have to apologize for this is supposed to be the, Yoruba week culture, but I haven't put their videos together. It's not fair on them. So, but I'm going to play that of the Igbo culture, and maybe even that of the South culture to play us out while we go for the next stream. So I just thought I should mention that, because I was supposed to be doing every culture in Nigeria, and this was Yoruba's week. I just haven't gotten around. There was so much event, Maduro getting kidnapped and all that stuff, too much stuff to cover, and I just missed my deadline to submit their own. So let me just play these ones out. Till the next time, 5 minutes from now, we are going to be on the next live stream. So let's just take our time and enjoy the music.
mmanwụ na nna mụ Mariam Rakani nwa ọgwụ egwu na mụ masị ebilielinu ibiribe igbu n'ọzọ ego kelizababa dịbe obodo oyibo kpatazịa nne m na nna m